Okay, I got our torches. I got the 50 feet of rope. I have the. I have everything I think we need in order to talk about Shadows of the Colossus. I think that's the book we're covering. The name's Adam.
I have returned from many years of slumber. I am the adopted, and I'm here to talk about Shadow the Hedgehog.
And I'm ImpCit, and yes, today we are going to finally talk about the classic RPG, Shadowgate the Living Castle Beyond the Shadows of Umbra.
Are you sure we're not talking about Shadow Complex? I think that's the one we're looking at, isn't it?
Oh no, wait, that was the original, that was the localization name. The actual name of the game is Shadowdark.
Oh, that's what it's called. I guess they didn't have the rights to Underdark. Well, in fairness, Wizards would sue them if they did that. Uh, there's a lot of things in
No,
this
no,
book.
no, no.
Hmm?
You're thinking old wizards. Current wizards would send the Pinkertons after them.
True. Oh, they still might anyway. There's a segment in this book near the end that makes me laugh my butt off. Mainly because they took a lot of the monsters, and one of them they changed the name of because they literally couldn't use the name, but they wanted to use them.
The old Warhammer method.
It's really bad. Oh, I guess no, it's not Evil Umbra. It is not Penumbra. It is not. Oh, it's not Shadow of War. It is not Darksiders. I have no idea. I just know it's something involving one of the worst designed beholders I've ever seen. This
Oh,
is
that's
way
what it's
too
supposed to mean?
narratively busy. Yeah, you can't really see the eye because they decided to try to make it more alien looking.
I'm not a beholder. I'm a completely original character, Beholder.
You're joking, but they forgot that I think Beholder is a copyrighted monster, so they still just use the Beholder. I think
Dick.
it's because it's already been used elsewhere.
No, it's a distinct thing. The Clasper.
I mean, it is grabbing onto everything.
At least the face on the gate looks friendly.
I think that's supposed to be a nod to the original statue that the thief stole the belly gem from, or the eye gem.
And look, instead of gargoyles, it's vampire bat birds or something.
Uh, it's something that the artist could draw, and then they just kind of threw it through a paint texturizer to make it kind of look like 80s art.
Honestly,
The,
it looks like the love child between a realm of chaos and rifts.
the helmets of those bat things remind me. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, there was a Digimon that had a face helmet just like that.
It did. Actually, holy shit, I think you might be right. This might be a Digimon drawn poorly. But besides that, it also, this PDF version of Shadowdark, gives you a very quick reference guide in the beginning, which covers your weapons, which are basically just SRD stuff that's been retooled over here. They don't tell
I'm
you what the
disappointed.
ranges mean.
Yeah, I'm disappointed by the severe lack of pole arms. I needed the classic AD&D pole arm table.
Wait, they don't have. This is OSR, but they don't have the weird rock, paper, scissors that they used to have with pole arms?
Well, no, I can see with range. I think the C is close, F is far, and then N is near.
What's the difference
Or can
between
we
close
or
and
can we
near?
neuter?
I think neuter sounds about right. Also,
Yeah.
you like how armor takes up gear slots now?
Also, the same thing of your type melee's M, ranges R.
I just realized that
Though,
these people got rid of the damage types, so that's
though
that's
technically
interesting.
any weapon could be ranged if you just throw it far enough.
Let me tell you, I should tell you about the time one of the players in one of my longer running D&D games specialized in throwing things when he did not use his cannon. He was strong enough to wield a cannon as a fucking pistol. That's what happens when you go into Warhulk.
With Hulking Hurler on top of that.
Oh, they do give us what all the stats mean in the next page.
Oh, okay. So far is within sight, near is up to 30 feet, and close is 5 feet. They explain it one other time, but this is going to be a problem in this book because they're going to have an entire segment on spells where they just assume you already instantly know this. Compared
I,
to any version. Oh, sorry.
I'm saying this is a game made specifically for grognards, so yeah, they expect you to be among their kin.
You say that, but it borrows a lot more from a different version of D&D.
So what you're saying is it's a shadow out of time.
Also, yeah, Scroll Killer did notice something. The Greatsword is a 1d12, so that is a nerf to the fighter. That is a minor nerf to the fighter because that is less consistent damage. I think it's also so that they had to use the d12. Same with why
Yeah,
some of the weapons still use d10s.
I will say when it comes to D12 versus 2D6, you basically gotta say that you either have a larger variance of high damage or have a more consistent highest damage. That's usually how it is between the two.
Given how dice roll, I tend to prefer 2d6. It's more consistent. You at least get 2 damage at worst.
And then spell focused, because I heard spell casting was nerfed in this.
Oh, it's
You can't
heavily nerfed.
you can't cast other focus spells while focusing. The spell
That
casting check at the start of
that
your
is
turn.
something from some iterations of D&D. Basically, you have to make a concentration check to chain into another spell. That's from D&D. I forget if it's from earlier versions or I forget what edition, but this has been a thing. That's not a nerf. The nerf comes in how failures can apply. Also, hey, look, dying. Your constitution actually matters. In older D&D versions, your con also determined how many times you could get rezzed. So if you had a con of 8, you can get rezzed 8 times. You don't have a 9th life. At least unless the gods intervene. So this is just a very quick reference guide that just sets you up for the book itself. And now let's get into the book proper, which, let's be blunt, this thing is not over 300 pages, don't worry. It's probably closer to 120, 140 maybe.
I do like somewhat that in the art they actually list who, like, where their art is. At the same
Oh,
time, though, it's
that's
kind of
not bad.
cluttered.
Well, think about it like this. Shadowdark is the project of one person, essentially. So you have to give credit, at least in this regard, for the writing, design, and layout being from one person. This ain't bad. However, that's going to have some effects down the road.
Because listen, Dark Souls wasn't built with just Miyazaki in charge. There were other people involved in it.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, what is it? Shadowgate, the castle that lives? It does stuff like that. By the way, it is printed in China. So if you got the hardcover, uh tell me about how well that keeps, how well that holds up.
Well, I was gonna also probably say, well, given this state, given the state of tariff economy, who knows how much that's gonna hurt.
I can tell you this, the original basic copy was sold for $9.50, which was $10 cheaper than this book. And that one gave you an adventure splat in the form of Keep to the Borderlands. It gave you the basic copy. It gave you a crayon so you could draw maps. It gave you dice that would break. It even
Well,
gave
yeah,
you an application to
because
become,
you know the dice were pretty much made out of the same stuff the crayons were.
which is why they were often eaten in United States Marine Corps camps during the Gulf War. They used them like pocket bacon. The next cover art, I actually think looks pretty decent. It's one of the few bits of art that I think looks fine, and I think it's because it's kind of a Bob Ross painting. Today we're going to show you how to make an ancient set of ruins that are being guarded by fish monsters.
Happy little fish monster.
But as we enter with the introduction, in these nighted halls, doom and glory bloom eternal. This is the story of El of I fucked that up. Of Shadow of the Erd Tree.
This is why I think that they were trying to go for the term Underdark, but it didn't work because that is legally owned by Wizards.
Well, they should have done something like the Thunder from Down Under or something instead.
In fairness, I think a Vegemite sandwich should be a monster encounter in that scenario. So they open up with a bit of story, which kind of covers what the tone of the game is, where it's go into dungeon, get money, survive monsters, use light.
The most generic quest ever.
Oh, that there's not even an adventure splat in this book. Reminder, Morkborg at least gave you that. It gave you a couple dungeons at least. So what's Shadowdark? It's a fantasy adventure game where you and your companions delve into buried ruins, lost cities, spider-infested forests, and even fearsome dragon lairs in search of gold and glory. So it is very much trying to be old school D&D.
I thought it was
Dragons
dark.
in my dungeons? It's more likely than you'd think.
I thought it was Darkest Dungeon.
Ruin has come to this book. So the Shadowdark's any place where danger and darkness hold sway, so technically your closet's part of the Shadowdark. And with adventuring companions at your side, you confront the sinister traps, formidable magics, and ruthless monsters. The funny thing is, they mention the traps, but then they have a completely contradictory element to it, which is really funny.
Is it bad when you think that? I like to imagine when my cat knocked all of the milk grains into the Shadowdark under the fridge.
Oh yeah, Under the Fridge is part of the Shadowdark. The dust bunnies are very deadly. If you survive, you'll bring back untold riches plucked from the jaws of death itself. And what defines this game? Speed, danger, and simplicity. Magic is perilous, and battles are fast and deadly. Translation, they fucking hate wizards. For some reason, whenever I think of OSR nowadays, I think it's because of this book and Chalt and a few others. In their efforts to nerf casters, they never choose to nerf the rogue. Which makes me think that these are a bunch of bitter dick-ass thieves that basically got kicked out of groups for trying to become the main character. That's just a hypothesis. We'll see how it shakes out. Because Chalt does the same thing.
I don't be the type like it's what my character would do because I'm chaotic neutral.
Oh, don't worry. There's no law or there is no evil or good in this game. There's only law and chaos. So the basics. So I will say that the front part of the book is fine because this is essentially borrowing heavily from basic versions of Dungeons and Dragons, which, if you're wondering, you can still find basic versions of these games even now. And
Yeah,
they're a lot
so
shorter.
to point out that the BX is only $5 on DriveThru RPG.
Which version? Because there's the 1977 version, which I wouldn't recommend. The one that I consider as not necessarily the gold standard, but the one that I like to use the most is actually the Moldve 81. If you're wondering why, it's because the 83 revised, while it does give you more stuff in the form of a Dungeon Master's Guide and it gives you like an adventure to go with it, it is also designed in a 3-column arrangement, and it's not as simple as just the basic, of 81.
Also, Pink Pilot, yes, you are now an adventurer for finding loose change in your couch's dark recesses.
You're technically, they don't use the term adventurer because they're terrified wizards might sue them. They call them crawlers.
Okay, that's... What about delvers?
Delvers, spelunkers, fortune seekers. Fortune seekers
The fool,
actually has a poetic tone to it.
the foolish.
Foolish is also fitting. As for the dice you'll need, it's D&D, so 4-sided, 6-sided, 8-sided, 10-sided, 12-sided, and 20-sided dice. No percentiles, though.
Well, yeah, it's basic D&D. Did they use percentiles?
Yes, they do. If you're wondering, D&D Basic, the way rogues actually picked pockets, noticing whether or not they succeeded is actually based on a percentile dice. It was also often used for encounters.
That's a little bit of a suggestion, but have you ever seen like those weird like actual 100-sided dice that look like they're like golf balls inside of a plastic sphere?
My favorite
Yes, I
ones.
have.
Oh,
I've seen one in person.
My favorite ones are the metal ones because you could put like a couple of them in a sock, and it's a very good anti-mugging weapon. It's a really good improv weapon. And if you're a halfling slinger, you can use it as lead shot.
But then you have your stats, which give a -4 or +4 modifier, depending on where your stat is from 3 to 18.
So
Strength, Dex,
before though,
Constitution, Intelligence,
bef-
Wisdom, Charisma.
before though, notice that they use advantage and disadvantage. This is the thing with a lot of OSR games. They're not really basing themselves on the Moldvay basic or the Gygax original. They're not. They're not. 9 times out of 10, what happened was they wanted to make a bunch of 5e splats. They tried to grift on that train. Then the OGL license fiasco kicked in, and then they converted it.
So what you're saying is that they're a bunch of grognard larpers.
Hmm, I think some of them, and by some I mean a lot of them, probably did play D&D in their olden days. I think quite a few of them also just kind of came back though after Stranger Things showed it off. Remember the 80s? Remember when your bones didn't hurt? Oh, you remember? Play this game where they allegedly, if you play it, you lose your soul to the devil.
Also, I will have to say, there's a lot of complexity, I'd say, to D&D. Like, as someone who actually has really never played it, I think coming into this would be a better entry point.
Mm,
Just be like, okay, you've got X amount of characters, here's their stats, here's the actions they can do, go.
I'll give credit to Shadowdark in that it gets into it right at the start. However, my rebuttal to this is, you know how they describe what your stats are? Let me compare because I have a copy of the 81 Moldvay right here. This is one that I actually have used quite often as why I don't think most OSR is worth anything. Let's see. They actually explain and go a little bit more into detail about the attributes. Like, for example, let's see. They talk about how things may not be raised or lowered. It also gives you details about how things work. For example, charisma is a major factor for hirelings, and they also give you bonuses and penalties. For example, for strength, it determines your hit damage and opening doors. Intelligence, at score 3, you have trouble with even speaking. You cannot read or write. For wisdom, it determines your saving throws, and this is stuff that actually mattered based on your score, which is why if they really wanted to make this even simpler, you know what you could have done instead? You don't need to roll the 3d6. You just do a bunch of stat arrays at that point.
But we have to go back to the old school days where we did do random dice rolls.
Don't get me wrong, I like random dice rolls, but if you're doing that, just let me tell you, you can find the Moldvay basic, the 81 basic, pretty darn easily. You could either get it for $5 or you can root through a dumpster. And honestly, at about 70 pages, it's really short, it's really brief. I like it. There is only one limitation, and this is something I will give Shadowdark. You can have longer campaigns with Shadowdark because it at least gets you up to level 10.
Mm.
D&D Basic is called that because it's essentially level 1 to 3 campaigns, and it's expected that it's a sampler for if you like it, you then can go into advanced. That's what AD&D meant. Advanced meant you have gone beyond level 3. Here's how you play characters up to 20th, and then that's where the epic play goes through. After 20th, you're basically fucking around with the levels of gods. So that's why it's
The,
basic and then advanced.
the Dark Side, as you were saying, if you think that people seek out this type of game because they want to play an actual one and because they want to play their OC, I feel like that is more with like modern D&D
Oh god, yeah
than in
it is.
this.
Oh, usually how I come up with characters when it comes to D&D is that first I come up with a race class combination and then build a personality around that. But more like I feel it out. Like I usually spend the first few sessions like sort of feeling the character out. Like how do I want this character to react? And basic because I'm not very good at like pre scripting what my character acts like. I like having some exercising with it first before deciding like where I want this character to go personality wise.
As for how I go, I usually come up with a character concept first, which usually determines itself by the class I want to go with. Like, for example, one of the times I played a caster, I wanted to play it like the occultist from Darkest Dungeon. So what I did was I picked a Shair, because that's essentially communing with another spirit. It worked rather well for that, and then I just based it on how I would probably play an occultist, which in this case was more of a doddering academic that was willing to violate several principles. I basically come up with a character concept, place the class, and then I'll usually add race later on, which can determine sometimes temperament or sometimes other things. Stats also come into effect. For example, when I played in 5e a monk with low int, I played him like a thug. I played him like a thug. It's just he had a lot of wisdom, so he could teach you the ways of thugonomics.
Yeah, in a Star Trek RPG we once played, I played, I'm trying to remember what the name of that one, like, three-armed race
I think they're
was.
called Adosians.
Yeah, Dosian. I was playing a Dosian that, due to just random events, he somehow became the ship captain. He was just a complete meathead that liked protein shakes and, like, doing dumbbells, and he had no idea what
It's
he was
mainly
doing.
because he had a very strong physical stat line,
Yeah.
so he was played as a meathead. In that game, I played a jovial Bolian security officer who had a admired admiration for high stakes cooking, and also was willing to violate and bend rules if it ensured safety.
Hmm. Also, Dark Sun, yeah, I see what you mean by it's more modern RPGs want to have the OC, which, yeah, I kind of like this where there's a little bit more lethality to it.
But yeah, like I said, the opener for this is relatively solid. It gets straight to the point. It explains things pretty quickly. I do think you probably could spend just a hair more on your stats, but you're likely already familiar with how this works. If you've got, here's the thing: if you are playing D&D Killers or OSR, you already know what the stuff means. You probably already know what the stuff means. I will grant that Shadowdark does have the advantage of just getting right into it, and it's really simple and it looks fine structurally, which already puts it above Morkborg. Also, I love the expression on that old man's face, like, do you really believe this shit that we're getting into?
Why are we in an Underdark where there's those trees?
I think they're funguses. No, I'm pretty sure those are trees. The,
Is it bad? Like, I actually went to the wrong page. Like, from there, I thought, like, the guy, like, below, like, the old guy was, like, stark naked, except for wearing a dagger and rope. It's like that his body hair? That the little speckles are?
what they tried to do is they tried to make it like an old 80s art asset. Like, let me go back to basic, the 81, and what they're trying to do is cross hatching, which was very common to, because you're not going to use color in an RPG book. These things are expensive, and you're trying to cut corners. They're trying to do cross hatching, but it just doesn't work. I think they added it digitally, and it just, in some cases, it kind of works. This is one of the better examples, but then we'll see others that are not so good.
Both the wise and foolish risk their fortune in the Shadowdark. The darkness decides who is who. Wait, the
That's
video game The Darkness decides who is who?
no, yeah. It's this is Dark Cloud. That's how this works. Got to build your village. So then it
Oh,
goes into making a character, and this is pretty simple. Oh, look, they bowed down. You can't use race, so ancestry, but that's fine.
well, they said cultural and ancestral heritage.
You could have just called it heritage too. Ancestry, heritage, it's fine. Oh god,
Alignment and deity,
the art on
of
page
which you can only
213.
choose between the opposing forces of law and chaos, or if you're a filthy neutral.
So this is the thing from D&D Basic. They did not have a good or evil axis because cosmologically, law versus chaos tends to be more interesting. The problem is that in a setting like Dungeons and Dragons, good and evil are metaphysical forces. Like, you can murder Paylor, like, you can beyond murder him. You could have Phrazodon eat him. You could make Asmodeus die screaming and kill all the devils, you could kill every god. Wipe them all out root and stem. The problem is that these are cosmological forces. It's similar to how gravity and electromagnetic force is. So yeah, law and chaos are pretty strong, but there is a good and evil element to it. And this is one of the things that I honestly disagreed with in basic. This is one of the very few things I always disagreed with, because I am of the mind that you should be able to make a character like Aladdin, who is essentially chaotic good, or you should be able to make someone like the noble demon Rubicante, one of the four fiends who heals you, who has chivalry despite being a fiend, a monster. If you
I
can't
do
do
like
that,
this.
then you fail.
I do like this with the starting level, where they do give you a level 0 character, which I guess it's your hard mode, similar to obviously as in Dark Souls 3. You can start off with the deprived character. Uh,
Oh no, this is
and they
just
also
this is just old homebrew. Basically, one of the earliest ideas that came about in D&D is known as the gauntlet. This is just repurposing that.
the other thing is that they have beginner's luck, meaning they can wield any gear.
You die like frogs in a blender. That's the point of modules that use 0 level characters. This has been a thing that's been around since forever. I don't know when the first 0 level idea came about, but it had to have been pretty early on.
And then for our stats, obviously we do roll 3d6 for each. If none of your stats are 14 or higher, you may roll a new set of 6 numbers.
Or what you could do, because you don't need to do this, is you just do a bunch of stat arrays. By the way, it's art like this on page 15. That's why I don't think the art works, because it's a case of the artist for this one, and they do quite a few pieces. Oh god, look at that fucking hand. Look at that right hand.
Also, yeah, because the hand kind of looks similar to the. Uh, I'm assuming that's the shirt. It looks like that character is naked.
No, he actually is butt naked. We shouldn't stay on that too long, actually.
Okay.
But no, genuinely, genuinely, this is one of those examples of where the art, I think, leans into the stylistic suck. Like, oh yeah, this is the '80s. Hey Jeff, you failed art school. Can you do the art for my amazing book that I cooked up while high off my ass on edibles? That's kind of what they're going for. And in this case, I think the artists kind of knew their limitations, so they kind of did the cross fading hatching and textures to kind of obscure that and kind of make it look a little more, oh golly gee shucks. We're
Wait, the
just,
person who made this was on drugs? Are we sure we aren't reading Chalt?
oh, you're joking, but there's a lot of design philosophy that this thing has in common with Chalt, which is why I don't like it as much as quite a few people do.
But let's see our ancestries. We can be a dwarf, an elf, a goblin, a half-orc,
Hmm.
a halfling, or a human.
I wonder why they put
Eh,
goblins in.
Why not a full orc?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a little suspect. It's almost like there's a push to make goblins playable because people tend to use them for haha cutesy bullcrap characters rather than the forces of deceit and chaos they traditionally are.
Also, you cannot be surprised as them.
Which that's no, no. By the way, these are kind of simplified homebrew for these types of demi-humans. Basic, instead of that, what you got was that, well, you had demi-human classes instead of you being an elf cleric, you were just an elf. Instead of being a dwarf warrior, you were just a dwarf.
Where were you when they scrubbed all references of gnomes' contributions to the Fellowship of the Ring?
Yes, because high elves were originally called gnomes, and then Tolkien was like, wait a minute, that sounds really dumb. But no, the reason I always like to make fun of goblins being inserted as a playable race is they're usually put in for one of two reasons. The people who play them tend to play them as overly goofy, stupid characters, so basically gnome replacements, or because it's their fetish. I'll leave you to decide given the knowledge on how most TTRPG players tend to be.
Most TTRG players tend to be Vosh.
Goblins and kobolds are the creepy fetish races. You're not wrong, Squirrel Killer. Ah, the fighter class. Blood-soaked gladiators in dented armor, acrobatic duelists with darting swords, or far-eyed elven archers. They master all weapons, all armors, and shields. Their hit points, though, are... Wait, 1d8? Really? Why the hell did you choose to nerf their... Why did you choose to nerf their hit die?
Um,
That's cleric hit die, by the way. Actually, no. Cleric hit die, I think, originally was 1d6. But,
well, they can use all armor and shields.
yeah, but even in basic, fighters still started with a 1d10.
Also, I guess they can be more of a loot goblin, as you can add your Constitution Mire if positive to your gear slots.
Which, that's not as impressive as you think it is. I'm gonna be blunt. The stuff they give you for fighter here is not that impressive. Like, don't get me wrong, fighters tend to be a very direct class, even like in basic especially. But here's the other thing: people forget that fighters used to also be one of your 2 skill monkey classes. It was either them or your rogue. Rogues were tended to be specialists in the more subtle aspects. Fighters tended to actually have things like knowledges that covered nobility and other details, because often enough, as you got in further in levels, you became a lord. So you actually needed to know a lot about how to run a kingdom.
Yeah, good old non-weapon proficiencies.
And we have a
Also,
one
one of the
page.
things they did was they took from 5th edition, choose strength or dex to determine your damage output.
Yeah.
Priest rather than cleric, I don't know why. They also nerfed them, but I think it's been a while. It's been a while since
So
I've
you,
touched
yeah,
basic, but I think clerics tended to have they might have had D6s. I don't
you know
remember.
Celestial, Diabolic, or Primordial.
AKA, we couldn't use the actual names that used to be. Well, actually, they used Celestial, so they might get sued for that. But they
Yeah.
didn't use Infernal.
We do have Turn Undead spell,
That's a
which,
classic.
well, this does mean that even the forces of evil are against, or the forces of chaos are against the undead.
Well, technically, turning as an evil caster allows you to command them.
Oh,
At least
you choose
that's one of the ways you can handle it.
choose your deity, and you know your spells. You get either one tier spells, and each time you gain a level, you choose a new priest spell.
By the way, if you wanted to nerf clerics, do you want to know what you originally had to do in basic? You didn't start with spells as a cleric.
Mm.
I'm not kidding. You as a level 1 cleric, which was a different name, I think it was like acolyte or something. You did not start with
Mm.
spells.
The other thing I'm noticing is that your priest talent, when you roll a 12, is to choose 1 or 2 points to distribute to stats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, fair, it's rolling a 12.
By the way, note that Shadowdark. Oops, that's not the name. I think that's Blades in the Dark. I was thinking about. Yeah, that was Blades in the Dark. Shadow of the Colossus. It only goes up to level 10. I like it. That doesn't look like the undead's retreating from the dwarf cleric. That looks like the
I was
skeleton's
just,
laughing at him.
I was fair. How many groups these days actually go beyond level 10 in any like level-based system?
Fair enough, but my rebuttal to this is another reason why I think this actually borrows a lot more from 5e than it does from basic. Because 5e is very much front loaded. Once you get past level 10, balance, what the hell's that? Playtesting, the fuck's that?
Then we have the Thief, 1d4 hit points per level,
Which is
and you
we're
are allowed
dealing
to
with wizard health.
backstab. Just like in Dark Souls 2, it does a lot of damage. And it's
Also,
easy.
notice that I believe it's been enhanced because you get up to 5 sneak attack dice, and it's based on your weapon of choice.
Well, wait. What was the art earlier? Like, what is that thing supposed to be? That's the most poorly drawn thing ever. The thing the
Uh,
priest is doing.
I think that's supposed to be a holy symbol. Yeah,
Discount Galmaraz, go!
No. I know what happened. So what they did was the artist for this traced a priest holding a crucifix, like "Begone, Dracula," and then they turned it into a really bad double-sided axe. But they didn't add any texturing to it to make it look like metal.
Also, I do like with the thief class that you just have a club, so you're not really backstabbing, you're knocking them on the head.
I like the fact that they get up to potentially 5D worth of that weapon's damage even more. And by like, I mean, I think that's an enhanced version of their sneak attack. Again, there's a reason why I honestly think that the people who like OSR were the dick-ass rogues that you fucking kicked out of your group.
But then we have the wizards.
No, Private Penguin, that is not the hammer. The hammer's in the other guy's hand, in the other hand. That's his holy relic. That's his holy symbol.
It's also a hammer.
Hey, look,
Hey, look!
what's the thing that rabbis wear? That weird scarf thing.
The
He's wearing
talit.
one.
It's not just rabbis,
not
we
just-
all wear it.
But why is it sticking out like that?
The power of God.
The power of starch.
It's like, this is my hammer, and this is my doodle bob version of the hammer.
Actually, he does kind of look a little Jewish.
Oh God. Oh no. Let's move on before unfortunate connotations begin.
Well, no, it's Jewish dwarves, it's not Jewish goblins, at least. Speaking of which, wizards, in which we have a goblin wizard.
Oh wait, that's supposed to be a wizard. Why did they draw stink lines on him? They drew
Because
stink
all of
lines
the,
on him.
because listen, all of those that race are filthy. They're like vermin.
Also, what's up with his anatomy? He looks like he was scrunched into an accordion like a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
That's what the power of arcane science does to you. By the way, his leg is not connected to his body, it's connected to his rib cage. Also, some of the ideas they come up with include Rune Tattooed Adepts, which was a prestige class, Bespectable Magi, which are just standard wizards, and Flame Conjuring Witches, which is just another term for sorcerer.
Or sorceress in this case.
Yeah, usually the people who tend to play sorcerers tend to play them as female and tend to use them to just do a lot of damage. I don't know, it's just like something weird I've noticed.
Let's see, we got 1d4 hit points per level. We know 2 languages, common to rare. You can permanently learn a wizard's spell from a scroll by studying it for a day and succeeding in a DC 50 intelligence check.
Oh, so why not combine wizard with sorcerer? Sorry about stealing the thunder there.
I will say, if you guys want to hear a story about a really wacky sorcerer, I'm pretty sure I once did a really old video on here talking about a problem player that really loved sorcerer a lot.
I don't think you talked about that one, but I do remember the one who wanted to play an artificier but never came up with an invention except for the one handed to him in the form of a blueprint. And that was the only thing he ever invented.
Just invent guns. Like,
he wasn't given the
bigger
schematics.
Guns. More guns.
So all he used was this stupid masterwork repeating crossbow. It wasn't even enchanted. He didn't even use any infusions on the bolts.
I mean, there's a reason why that player we've described one of his characters as he was there in terms of his contribution to the party.
But then, let's see, we then get the ability to make a background, of which you could be a wizard's apprentice, but then maybe also a cleric, which,
Yeah, the backgrounds don't make any sense. I'm gonna be honest, no, none of these make sense. This is just a random table that makes no sense.
But then we go to alignment, and look! Discount Warhammer Chaos Warrior! Fighting Discount Bretonnian. I remember that image.
Oh God, you're right. You fucks! You just traced over art and then just added filter for it. I know that because
Oh no!
I saw you buy this book.
Oh no! It wasn't tracing over an Adrian Smith work, but that does literally look like a Chaos Warrior.
It looks like a Nurglite follower, yeah.
One guy looks like he has a Mario warp pipe for a head.
You're right.
Well, I mean, it's shallow because he has no brain.
Let's see. Chaotic are aligned with destruction, ambition, and wickedness. They adopt a survival of the fittest mentality. Lawful align themselves with fairness, order, and virtue. They operate from a good of the whole mentality. And this does bring up, though, what is virtue?
Yeah, this is why I'm not a fan of this kind of thing. Basic
But then
does
we
the
have
same thing, but you know what Basic also has the balls to admit? Let me crack it open and let me get the... Where are you? Alignment. Okay, let's take a look at the alignment.
I'll see us
Lawful
pagan.
characters
Yeah,
will fight to protect the group, whatever the danger is. They will not run away. These are situations. So law, in this case, they tend to be good. Is usually the same as behavior that could be called good. Basic did the same thing too, but notice Basic at least gave you wiggle room. So if you wanted to play a chaotic shitter, they didn't have to be evil. And if you wanted to play a lawful evil guy, they didn't have to. You could. Like, lawful usually meant good, but it doesn't always.
I do have to say, though, I know some people are saying that it might be a generic warrior. It's just the fact that it's got horns on the
It's,
helmet.
well, not only the horns, but the head on the spike, the
The
defiled
shape of
eight-pointed
the shape of
star.
the shape of the helmet.
Also, the eye holes are literally eight-pointed stars.
Well, one of them is. I
Spiked
think another one
swords.
is.
He's
I've never.
overweight.
That would actually be a good Chaos Warrior. The the eye holes are actually the 8-pointed star.
So speaking of which, so they have the deities. They came up with several of them.
The
And
four lords.
yeah. And then the Dark Trio.
That's wait. I do like the four lords who stand for justice, order, and mercy.
The fourth one's just there too.
How is he holding onto that sword? It's attached to his body. It's a chaos mutation.
Oh
His
yeah,
hands are permanently
they fucked
attached.
up the handle. Oh no, it's a Kopesh handle. It's like it's supposed to be stylistically suck like that. It's supposed to be an S-shaped.
Actually, given
Yeah,
chaos,
it's not really designed for killing. Is this designed to make it hurt more?
Well, let's see. We also have the Dark Trio who worship power, or destruction and cruelty. And then there were once 9 primary gods, but 2 are the lost. Hey, another thing they're ripping off from Games Workshop, which was ripping off from the Roman Empire. The Forbidden or Forgotten.
So
Beneath the
let's see what
eyes
these
of the...
deities are.
Oh no. Oh no. 9 and eyes. Oh, they're taking it from Zinch, aren't they?
Oh, I thought this was a nod to the 9 deities of Tamriel.
You mean 8.
Oh yeah, one of them got lost.
Well, no. I mean, it's the whole thing of Talos becoming a god and...
So we got not Saint Cuthbert. We got I oh god, what's this one?
Ged?
I don't
Gedi?
No, I don't know if this one's supposed to. I don't remember the elven deities that
I mean,
well.
given it god of feast, mirth, and wild, I'm going with... So, she's just, she just likes to go clubbing.
Oh, she's your average D-list celebrity who does lines of coke on the table.
Go, white girl, go.
You got ultra
Madeir...
lawful person.
Ord.
That's literally Bocob.
No, I thought that's Old Republic Depot.
Well, it's also that, but this is literally just Bocob, but with the name taken away.
Then we have Menom,
Who
a
is
Redmayne Leonine.
basically? Oh, I know. Okay, so Madeira's twin. So Madeira is supposed to be Hieronius, and this is supposed to be what's his face, the evil half.
I don't know.
Who's the next?
Exor?
What now?
Exor.
Yeah, Hexor. This is just Hexor. Thank you.
Ramlot, the Pillager.
That's Grumish.
Many orcs worship and live by his blood right. Shun the Vile, Schemes to displace orders so you can control magic for yourself.
Vecna.
Oh, hi, Hermes Mora.
I think it's Vecna.
Or
And the-
Ouija's.
Ouija's,
the
yeah, it's
second-
Ouija's.
Yeah. And the 2nd and the 11th Legions.
So, please don't sue us, wizards. See, we changed their names. We changed their names, so it's fine. No, don't destroy us. Ah!
I mean, again, better than Games Workshop.
Oh, also the titles. This is again taken from basic as a concept, and not just basic. This is also advanced, especially at level 10, being called Lord or Lady or Warlord or Chieftain. Yeah, after you hit level 9, you became a Lord. This is
Wait.
legitimately just borrowing from the advanced book.
Why can't I be a lawful warlord?
Good question. Why am I a Slayer if I'm a chaotic fighter? What makes me a Slayer different from a Battle Rager? Maybe
And
I
wait,
just get mad.
why does a priest become a chaos knight, but a fighter becomes a knight? And also can become a priest could also become those are 4 different kinds of knights.
By the way, several of these titles were actually taken from Druid and Paladins.
Also, thief tiles. If you're chaotic, what if you just steal things and you're not a murderer?
Yeah, what if you're just a con man? What if you're just like basically Bernie Madoff?
Well, actually, no. I had it playing as Omar from The Wire.
Yeah,
That'd be more neutral.
I like how one of the wizard's titles is just Druid for no reason. Okay, here's my question. Why are all the new I say this even though I now realize it's because those tend to be neutral classes in D&D, but it makes no sense for a wizard to be called a fucking druid or a shaman.
They're the same thing.
Also,
And then
sorcerer has different connotations. I hate that one. Yeah, Scroll Killer's right. Why is the lawful one the boss? That's a mafia title. What the fuck?
Well, the mafia is kind of law.
I mean,
If you squint
hypothetically.
if you squint a bit and take their bribes. Actually, that would be funny. A guy becomes a god of law, of lawful crime, specifically because he bribed his way into it.
You're joking, but I think there is a D&D god that legitimately started as leader of essentially the mob.
In unrelated news, this video is sponsored by Tony's Pizzeria. There are no connections to the previous conversation.
Go to Tony's Pizzeria. Anytime you come here, doesn't matter what you ask for. You want the world's worst pizza by asking for things like caviar? Yeah, we got it. Don't worry about it. My brother Nicky, he gets it off a truck. Don't ask questions about our locally sourced ingredients. Tony's Pizzeria. It's one of the greatest last meals you could have. It's a meal to die for. No.
You heard a set tone to die for.
Also, note, there is no such thing as the mafia. Any other rumors about that stuff is considered slander, and we will sue the hell out of you.
Well, on to languages then. Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Giant, Goblin, Marin, Orcish, Reptilian, Slivan, and Thanian.
Oh, also, if you're wondering, Viperians, those are Yuan-Ti. I'm just gonna rip the bandage off. For whatever reason, they were terrified of using the term Yuan-Ti. They'll use Beholder. They'll use Ankegs. They'll use Bullets.
Mostly because Beholder is itself like a actual word that has nothing to do with like creatures.
It's still
remember,
enough of an issue that there's a reason that Final Fantasy stopped using them as an image.
This is the same industry.
But it's the name.
I must say, this is the same industry where people tried to sue for the name Space Marine.
And yeah, Scroll Killer, mob run restaurants usually have good. Not
but
necessarily.
In the case, Wizards has.
Their services tend to be kind of slow, but one of the weird things are they will usually manage to make if you have a very specialized order, mob restaurants will actually make it because they can just get the ingredients off a truck.
And let's see, we got our starting gear. Oh, we have the rare languages though. Remember, the wizard can know 2 of them. Celestial, Diabolic, Draconic, and Primordial. Does you know what the rare language is?
No, the rarest language of all is what they should have done is they should have also made a point to have the alignment languages.
I would have also done this, is that ancient of the common languages be rare languages.
Yeah, there should have been a variant. There should be variants of the ancient languages, like ancient
Like
versions
like
of
you're
Common or
like you're
Dwarvish.
telling me the ruins of the Valuhag Empire had the same common that's spoken today, even though they were from a millennia ago?
I love the mental image of that.
Well, maybe when I see like elder things, I like to imagine. Well, once you turn 65, you automatically learn primordial.
And that's the other thing. Trademark on Beholder as a name for the monster has been recently enforced. That's the other reason I think it's kind of funny. Oh, please don't sue us for using the name Yuan-Ti, but we'll use Beholder because, I saw it on Futurama once. That was fine. By the way, that monster was not called a Beholder. It just looked like one. By the way, for starting gear, 0th level characters, yeah, the amount of gear you start with is random. You have to roll a d12, and how much you get is
Also,
based on your d4. So if you're really
also,
unlucky, you might just have like 4 clubs.
also we do have for their economy, a gold piece is equal to 10 silver pieces or 100 copper pieces.
Standard D&D affair.
Yep. And how much the gear costs, how much you can carry per gear
Wait a
slot.
minute, this isn't old school. Where's the Electrum pieces and Platinum pieces, buddy? Yes, Electrum pieces were a thing. It was a denomination that was halfway between gold and silver. It did not survive past first edition.
Was this Artie? It looks like this guy has like steel-toed clown shoes. His feet are so big.
I have no horn, and I must honk.
And once we get a crawling kit, your various armors,
This is all taken from the SRD.
all your weapons,
Like, I'm not even
and
kidding. These are tables that you can just get from the SRD. They just kind of put them on here and formatted them.
character names,
Yeah, there's a lot of these.
which is not split between if it's male or female. So all of these are gender neutral names.
Yeah, I mean, what, you thought Norbert was actually a halfling male? Nah, her parents just had a funny sense of humor.
Let's know that Oscar can be a woman's name if you're a human.
The Great Princess Oscar. Oh yeah. Electrum was pretty neat.
Oh look, BattleTech the Dark Age is here. 19 on dwarf name, Sarna.
Oh wow, it is. Wait, I just saw it in dwarf. One of their names is literally just it's Sindarin for dwarf.
Which one?
Number 6, Nogrim. By the way, Nogrim meant the stunted folk. Good job. Good fucking job.
I know what I'm gonna call you, son. Stunted folk. That's a good name that won't be
I'm
embarrassed in
gonna.
high school.
This would be like, okay, imagine you're in the hood and you're black and you just had your baby mama just had your kid, and you choose to name them the N word.
Oh,
That's kind of what you're doing.
That's even
oh,
more than to be.
oh wait.
What?
No. That's gonna be great when you're being called up. They're gonna have to say it.
Okay, admittedly, it's not as nasty. It's usually like one of the milder ones, but it's one of the reasons the dwarves didn't necessarily like the elves. The other being that elves used to think they were animals and would shoot them.
I guess it'd be more accurate to say that if you take this, it'd be like being dangerously French and naming your child cheese-eating surrender monkey.
Oui, oui.
As for how level advancement works, so the way it works is you have a certain amount of EXP you have to hit to make the milestones, and you also get
And
talents, which are the equivalent to feats, essentially.
XP is based on the quality of treasure and boons you gained. So not killing things.
Which that is based on some interpretations on how characters can improve. You can easily make it purely money based because every class technically would get benefits from money. Like a warrior who uses their money to get better equipment or learn new fighting techniques by spending time with a mentor, or alternatively, learning elocution lessons as they become more and more likely to become a lord. That makes sense. Or a barbarian who just uses it to party and get connections and basically build a tribe. That's how you kind of do that sort of stuff. Wizards use it to get new arcane tomes or spend time studying, getting resources, doing alchemical experiments. Clerics use it to donate to their church. They often use it to invest in new buildings like orphanages. That makes sense. And rogues, again, they use it to levy contracts, get new kit, fence, and buy stuff. It makes sense. You can do it money based. They're gonna fuck this up, though. Shadowdark fucks this up, and we'll get into why later.
Well, now we go for the random characterization tables.
Oh, yeah, this is another problem that I have with Shadowdark. Over half the book is gonna be table.
Also, I do like you can get the spell protection from evil, but you could also probably have a deity that's evil.
They didn't think that through, did they?
Yeah, no, because of the alignment. Yes, I could be a lawful. I'm a lawful servant of Shun the Vile.
No, I'm a chaotic mother. I am a chaotic shitter worshipping Shun the Vile, but I also just still protect you from evil.
Hmm.
Whap, whap.
I mean, unlike good, evil is not a one big happy family. They're always trying to one up each other.
You're right.
I like
For
how you
magic,
also just roll these, so you could actually just. You don't have any ability to speak common at all.
I do like this. What you called wizardry, I call faith, but in either case, it's our dedication that fuels it. I mean, I know this is I know that in Darkest Dungeon they do the same thing, or in Demon Souls.
I mean, you're saying that, but I actually think that what happened was the writer for this played Darkest Dungeon, really liked it, and then just kind of took it in D&D 5th edition and turned it into this.
Oh, if they did that, it would be much more a grind fest.
So how does spellcasting work? Well, wizards, they cast their spells, but here's the thing. It has to hit, otherwise you get bad results. You have to make spellcasting checks by rolling 1d20 plus your intelligence modifier. Same with priests, only you use wisdom instead. By the way, if you fail your spellcasting check, it does not take effect. You can't cast that spell again until you complete a rest. And on critical failures, here's the other thing that happens. As a wizard, you have to roll the "oh go fuck yourself" table, and for a priest, you essentially have to perform penance.
We get 5 tiers for the wizard mishap. The good old psychic damage, psychic mishap chart.
Don't you like how you have to roll a fucking spellcasting check just to do cure light wounds? Doesn't that sound amazing, Diopsid? By the way, in basic, guess what you do? You just cast the fucking spell. Clerics aren't
Oh,
I've
punished here.
always hated fumble tables in general. I once played in a game where we had a fumble roll if we rolled a one on weapons, and I was an archer type character, and in that session I broke 3 longbows from landing on your weapon breaks 3 times.
Hey, remember when we I've had that happen too, like where just if you're really unlucky, your weapon can just break in the session. The game I'm familiar with this is it was a post-apocalypse setting game where weapons had durability, where if you rolled a 1, it ticked it down by 1. Most weapons had anywhere between 3 to 7 durability depending on their build quality. I think at one point we lost one of our weapons in one session because we rolled like 3 1s. And it was a bitch to get another one.
The thing that, though, with magical mishaps is that you have no idea what will happen. What sort of wacky shenanigans will happen when your spell farts out?
So for the first 2 tiers, if you're really unlucky on the D12, you have to roll twice. And some of the nasty things include taking 1d8 damage, reminder you have a very low health pool. Refraction, which
See,
means you just get fucked.
I see disadvantage on casting spells of the same tier for 10 rounds.
Yeah. Disadvantage on casting for 10 rounds sucks, by the way.
Then, like Wizard Tier 3, Arcanomutagenesis. Pass a DC 12 Constitution check, or a random stat drops 3 until you successfully complete a rest.
Garbage.
Or Stupefaction. You lose the ability to cast spells of all of the same tier until you complete a rest.
Basically, go fuck yourself.
Or you become radioactive by magic.
Mm-hmm. My favorite is when you can just destroy the universe. That happens on Tier 5. You tear a large hole
Oh,
in the
fatal!
fabric of a universe close to you. The lightless tear grows larger every round. You just fucking
Oh,
die.
so you summon Azathoth or you cast Fatal.
Yeah, they don't explain what this does. Like, does the universe itself die, or is it like a sphere of annihilation? Who
I gotta
fucking
say,
knows?
nothing fun. Like again, um, having a body part become sentient, grow off you, and try to kill you, or you shit yourself, or
Or maybe don't have a fumble table and just make it so that if you fail the spell casting check, you just can't use that spell until you rest and muse over your failure.
and again, only the wizard gets this. Only the wizard gets
Oh,
fucked over by this.
no. The cleric also gets fucked over because they have to do a penance quest, which means that you have to take valuable time out of your fucking player group's time to deal with the failure of rolling a single one. Yeah, this is dog
I,
shit.
f- I failed. I must deliver the holy bathwater to Saint Gadid.
Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, a 5 gold, even on tier 1, that's kind of an ask. Like the value of these items to get your magic back, a pretty big ask. Mainly because the most valuable stuff you'll find in a dungeon is only worth like a couple grand.
And then also with your wands and scrolls. Critical failure, casters must roll the mishap. For wands, on a critical failure, it permanently breaks,
Yep,
and you suffer mishap.
yep. So not only do you lose the item, but you just have to roll on the fuck you dice. Doesn't this
Because
sound fun? Doesn't this
fuck
sound
you,
like
wizards.
fuck you, wizards? How dare I get kicked out of another player group because my dick ass
This is
thief stole your fucking
now I
scroll and
realize
you punished me.
this is an RPG made by a cornate demon.
No, this is an RPG made by a dick ass thief. Hey, reminder, thieves actually have a bonus to their sneak attack dice. Fighters don't get that. In fact, they get nerfed by having a weaker HP pool.
And then they give us these spells,
That's
such
actually
as
something, by the way, it has in common with Chalt, just to let you guys know. Chalt does the same thing, only it doesn't punish clerics. In fact, actually, clerics have an auto heal in Chalt.
which they give us then the list of what tiers they're in, and then the spells names in alphabetical order.
Yep, which I don't. Well, actually, no, that's basically common SRD. By the way, this is where.
Yeah, I will say that we probably don't have to go through
All the
like that many
spells.
spells. I'll quickly see this to see if there's any I at least am not familiar with there being anything because you never know if they have like something that's a bit unique in here. Was
Well,
this one?
they nerfed Alter Self, for example. Alter Self traditionally lasts an hour. Now it only lasts 5 rounds.
Also, I'm starting to see that a lot of these spell abilities that are supposed to be area of effect cubes. Anti-magic cell is a near-sized cube of null magic. The
Well, they
cloud
don't want
kill
to
is
think about the
yeah.
sizes.
Well, a putrid cloud of a near-sized cube.
I like the part where Cloud Kill, I mean, it's tier 4. You can kill basically any monster with it. By the way, they don't clarify the ranges exactly, so far from what it tells you, remember, it's within line of sight. What D&D does better is they will also clarify the
Yeah.
distance that spells can roll in. By the way,
But
a bonus to becoming a better caster is you can actually cast farther.
Like, I'm seeing here with Fireball. You hurl a small flame that erupts into a fiery blast. All creatures in a near-sized cube around where the flame lands take 46 damage. I presume that they also sell, like, game boards or maps or something like that that tell you the size of the cube.
Oh yeah, almost certainly. And I know
Oh
this
yeah, wait,
because this is being pushed by a lot of indie designers.
yeah, no, they said what a near is. Like, near si don't say near size, just give it, like, 5 feet or something like that.
Clarify near as within 25 feet. Clarify close as within 5 feet. And that's really stupid. Also, Fireball was just as something damning. Fireball did have splash damage, if I recall, but it was nowhere near as powerful as this thing is, if I remember right.
But yeah, the other thing is also just saying near size. It makes me think that the fireball is not an actual fireball, but a cube just going towards a creature.
Is this theater of the mind or grid or both? It's grid. Like Bacon Pilot, they play it on a table. They play it on a marker board.
Obviously, this is Minecraft. Everything's a cube. I've never played Minecraft, but I'm guessing that's how it works. Everything's a cube.
So something I've noticed is a lot of these spells actually have been completely nerfed in terms of time. Like their durations were heavily nerfed. Yeah, the big thing they did is they just nerfed their durations.
I love the goofy artwork for Plane Shift on page 66.
Come with me to the piss forest. It'll be better than here.
My magical realm.
I have no idea why they chose to nerf the times like this.
Yeah, sleep. You weave a link spell that fills a near-sized cube extending from you. So yeah, you are just throwing a cube of sleeping.
So what happened is this person doesn't remember the different spell shapes and they don't want to bother anyone by telling you the different spell shapes. These are the sorts of people who would scream in panic if you told them to do a cone or to make a line or to do a sphere.
It's not a quadrilateral. I can't understand it. No.
Did a Modron write this? Did a low-level Modron write this, and they only understood? Did like the one-sided Modron make this, and it only understood square?
Don't you dare blame the Modrons on this. They did nothing wrong. They're good boys. They just want to do their job. It's their purpose.
So apparently near is up to 30 feet.
Yeah, it's
That's
the same as close range
that's
traditionally.
big.
That's basic short range for D&D, but it's really stupid that they chose to name it differently. By the way, I just remembered something. Did they clarify base attack bonus? Like, do they determine progression on how much, or do everyone just kind of gain a +1 bonus to hitting?
I don't know. Because next
Or
section is
did they
gameplay.
lower it? Did they go the THAC0 route where they lowered the AC on the monster?
Well, we're gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to see within combat because they do give obviously the nat 20, the nat 1, what advantage and disadvantage is, luck tokens, aka rerolls.
By the way, one of the things they don't clarify is do natural 20s and 1s apply to skills as well? Oh wait, they don't have skills. You fuck skills.
Let's see, making checks, contested checks, time passing. Okay, here we go. Combat. You can either do initiative or freeform. Wait, I thought this was supposed to be OSR.
Oh, if you're
Why?
wondering, what we missed in an earlier section is originally the way initiative was handled was it started with the GM and then circled around the table, which I thought was a dog shit example. And then they're like, oh, you could just use the normal D&D approach of just rolling your fucking stats. D20 plus your dex. You could just do that, I guess.
Don't pussyfoot out. Actually bemoan the new additions. Act like the grognard you are.
By the way, I love how social encounters and most skills are just operating on your raw attribute stat rather than giving you boons to it, except I guess via advantage or disadvantage. Because that D&D 5th edition skill system is so fucking good. Am I right?
All right,
No,
hold on. Let's
no,
see.
it goddamn isn't.
So the Shadowdark, characters are in crawling rounds when not in combat. Page 84.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So light sources last up to an hour of real time.
Oh yeah, this is
Um,
one of the stupidest mechanics in this game, by the way.
so that means if you're sitting there and debating for an hour, or if you're in combat, and your combat has lasted. It's supposed to last only for a few minutes, but in real time lasted longer. Your light can just go out. Is that what they're saying?
Yes and no. We'll get into that, but another reason I think Shadowdark is stupid is it falls for the Broasar trap. So, for those wondering, Broasar has this really stupid home rule where real time equal game time no matter what. See, when a normal person, a person who has functional brain cells, reads Gary Gygax's ruling on how time works in the game, they'll interpret it as an hour in the dungeon is an hour in game time. You spend a few days in a dungeon, well, a few days happen outside too. It's not like a time cube, unless the dungeon has time cube abilities. So you come back out, and you'll find, oh, the wares in the market have changed because it's Friday rather than the Tuesday that you left on. Or alternatively, oh, hey, that event that was going to happen 5 days out, the Blood Sports Arena, that's open again. Nice. Or a negative example, oh shit, we spent 8 days in the dungeon and Glarvavul the warlord has managed to rally the werewolf tribes to his army that's marching towards us. Factor in the time basically time moves for everywhere. What these dummies do is they interpret it as you also have to think about it outside of game, and it sets up this really stupid way of play, which is basically impossible to do.
I had to say, calling it Bro SR is quite ironic considering how much nerds are not bros.
They're not, and they get really mad when people make fun of their horrible take on a Gary Gygax ruling, because even
You're
Gary thought
nerds.
you were wrong.
You're nerds. Embrace it.
But if you're wondering, essentially the big gimmick of Shadowdark is it's like Darkest Dungeon. You basically go through based on your torch level or based on your light levels. The difference is, I guess they didn't realize that in Darkest Dungeon you can do a blackout run, which is where you don't use lights at all. It's a hard mode, but you can do it.
For the brave and foolhardy alike.
Also, another negative about this game is one of the races or ancestries, I should say, that they use are goblins, which are notoriously known for having night vision and dark vision.
That's why they're completely unable to be surprised.
Whap whap.
Well, no, we could just do an all goblin party.
Ugh.
Yeah. Then we have resting, which they must consume a ration and sleep for 8 hours.
So yeah,
What if you're
okay.
well? Hold on. What if you're fasting?
Oh yeah, what if your deity requires you to fast? Also, here's one of my favorite video game tier examples. Okay, let's say you're at like 1 HP, like you had a lot, you're a fighter, you had like, I don't know, 52 or something, and you're down to 1. So you have multiple broken bones. One of your testicles has been ripped out. Half of your teeth are missing. Your foot's bent the wrong way. It hurts to live. You eat a cheeseburger and fall asleep for 8 hours, and you're back completely cured. Right as rain. What a fucking joke.
Hey, listen. After I've been fighting a bunch of Dwemer runes in Morrowind, I just stand there for an hour, and bam, all of my magic's restored.
It's one of the dumbest video gameizations I've ever seen. Because even in D&D, you didn't get cured just by sitting your ass around. Not instantly. It took time. Oh, and that's the other thing that I hate about this, Not Nito, is most of the time this gimmick doesn't work because 9 times out of 10 the people advocating for this sort of game, guess what type of races they play? The fuckers with night vision. It's actually harder than you think to find a party that has to actually use a torch. I've played D&D for frickin' decades, for at least over a decade by this point. And you know how many times I've had to bring torches? Maybe like half the time because one poor bastard in the party chose to play a human? Or two? Most of the time, people tend to play things that have different bonuses, either for stat reasons or for roleplay purposes.
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to skedaddle.
Don't
For
feel bad,
those, with,
Diopsid. We're almost done with this book. It's all tables from here
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, like just the reason why I haven't appeared on here in a while is because life gets in the way of staying up late a lot.
It's also because I stream this on Monday. That's the big reason.
Yeah, so I will say that from what I've seen, it is a unique book. I really can't say anything positive or really negative about it. It's just that it's clearly made for people who want to pretend they like AD&D, but at the same time want the conveniences of 5e.
Yeah, this is just a 5e skin, I think. Safe
So this is
travels, friend.
yes, so, I'll grab my shovel and dig my way out of this mess.
Go. I think the torches are going out, and I don't want to light another one yet because there's the mechanic for. Basically, there's a mechanic where you have to actually get rid of the old one because the new one's tied to it, if I remember right.
Let me see what they say. Yeah. So they have two options in lighting more than one light source at a time. The newer light source rides along with the current timer, or you extinguish all old light sources and start a new timer with the fresh light
That's
source.
so fucking stupid.
The purpose is to make tracking light timers simple, not frustrating, so the GM can revise that.
I don't care. That's a stupid
I mean,
take.
I guess with the whole light thing, if you wanted to split the party up, but then again, you're in a dungeon, you're splitting the party up, that will never end well.
Also, another reason I think this is borrowing heavily from Darkest Dungeon is the campfire mechanic. Because the campfire guarantees that you're safe basically for 8 hours because monsters can't just sneak up on you. By the way, the whole point of the light system is basically when the lights are off, the DM is allowed to cheat horrendously.
Of course, you're in the dark. Who can know what your roles are?
Not only that, but hey, guess what? I can just summon monsters out of my left butt cheek now. Oh, your light just went out? Well, now you're about to get attacked by the giant slore that was there all along.
Speaking of which, we should talk about combat.
Do we have
So
to?
combat. Well, let's see what they do if they go Thack or not. Melee actions. You roll 1d20 plus strength modifier plus talent bonus. Hit if your total is equal to or greater than its AC.
Which is the classic idea. If you're wondering, Thaco, it's essentially applying the number. It's the same number, it's just applied in a different way.
You gotta roll under, not over.
Which makes as much sense mechanically. It's just, to me, it never was as intuitive as just, oh, I have to meet or go above number.
Because everything else in the game was meet or go above number.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Percentiles worked differently sometimes.
Ah.
But yeah,
And
it just felt more intuitive to roll over rather than. Basically, it's not necessarily rolling under, it's just kind of fucky.
and then when you get a critical, you double the damage or the effect. You can choose to kill a creature instead of knocking it out, or you can choose to knock it out instead of killing a creature. Death. Each character goes to 0 hit points, falls unconscious, and dying. Character goes to above 0 hit points, wakes up, and is no longer dying. You then have a
Also,
death timer.
their death timers. I just prefer the -10 and you're dead, and it's just like a ticking. Because this kind of can actually just fuck you. You literally just die on the spot. Okay, there's one of two ways you can do this. Ticking clock method, which was a thing since Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, I think since 2nd edition. Or you just have it be, if you're at 0, you're fucking dead, mate.
Well, it is at minimum 1. So basically, you'll have 1 turn to bleed out.
Or you could just make it you got one turn for a chance to come back, you know? Not this random bullshit here.
And then death is permanent. And we get overland travel, food and water,
This is all
downtime.
stuff, if you're
Yep.
wondering, the crossing hexes, this I think was borrowed from, this is probably borrowed from a DM's guide somewhere. I'm not going to
Then we
complain
get
about it. It's good to have as a reference guide. This is fine. Ah,
so
here
you
we go.
can
Downtime. I fucking hate carousing. Let's go into why carousing is one of the worst mechanics I've ever seen. So, okay, before we get into this, note that your treasure is variable. The amount of treasure that you can get at any point is random. So, if you're really unlucky, as a tier 1 guy, you can find a bent tin spoon, which is like worth 2 copper pieces. Then, you take all of your items that you find in the dungeon and take it and fence it to carouse. Carousing is a random check on your fucking HP. No, not HP, XP. And this is so stupid. Basically, you have two variables to determine whether or not you get EXP. Rather than just have it be based on money, which would have made more sense, let's say, for example, you just kind of, oh, you get bonuses to that. So the amount of money you spend, it's pay to win. You pay your output,
yeah,
and then
it's
you get your results, which just fucks you. It's just,
well
I hate
you can
this.
gain between so it's basically at most you'll gain a 2 XP, but if not, um you gain 6 XP and a 90 to 100 item from your treasure table if you escape.
Oh yeah, that's the other reason I hate the carousing system. So
Actually, I do like that in some way where if you party too much, you fuck up.
yes and no. I hate this specifically because not only is it variable, I also hate that depending on your results, like let's say, for example, you get a result of 2. You're locked in the stocks for 1d4 days and find 20% of your total wealth for setting a building on fire. It just punishes you. It just randomly fucking punishes you.
Well,
This is garbage.
because obviously when you carouse, you just drink a lot. And we all know what happens when you drink. Oh, you fool around a bit, you cause a bit of crime. You killed one person, but it's fine.
Look, I
It's
don't
all good.
mind. I don't mind there being a variable possibility for wealth, but I think EXP as a whole should be static when it comes to a party, barring if they're dead and they come back with a lowered level. And even then, that's more because of a balancing reason, because lower level characters gain more XP for the same encounter. So you're already getting variable amounts of gold already, right?
Mhm.
So why not have the carousing event be how you get your EXP? You take your gold and cash it in, and everyone gets a flat that amount.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what I initially thought the bonus was. That was your bonus XP.
Nope, that's the bonus to the die roll of the D8. This
Yeah,
is stupid. It's
this
a second level
no.
of RNG arbitration, and it's pay to win garbage. Fuck this.
Let's see. But then
This
you
is
could
a
also
bad
play
mechanic.
Wizards and Thieves, which is a gambling game in which you roll 3d6, and rolls of 6 and 1s cancel out each other.
Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, this book does have a table that is used as an alternative ruling for how this works, but this is what they intended for it, and this is stupid. This is just a garbage take.
I'm looking. This is just This is even more confusing somewhat than Caravan.
It's not only more confusing than Caravan, but the problem is they explain it so poorly, I don't know how the game works. I'm not even kidding. I read this like twice initially, like the day before. I still don't know how Wizards and Thieves works because it doesn't really explain it. It's actually just kind of clunky. I'd rather just play a game of. If you're gonna have me LARP a gambling game, I'd rather just play Knucklebones. I'd rather just do like craps. I'd rather play
Well,
craps. I'd rather play poker. I'd rather play Egyptian rat screw.
well, let's see.
Although
But then we
honestly,
have,
poker takes too long, so blackjack works too.
but then we have the GM guide.
After skipping through the example of play, which is pretty long, here you go, the Game Master. And this is one of the other sections that I think this book does pretty well, since it assumes that you're not necessarily familiar with how this stuff works. And it does pretty
I
well.
do,
It's relatively short. It gives you details on what you need.
I do wonder why Shadow of the Colossus has a Game Master guide. I thought this was a video game.
Well, they used to actually give them back in the day when their instruction booklets.
Oh yeah, you're right. They did that for Shadow
Now,
Complex.
now it's only just the code to get it a digital copy that they can just now brick at any time because you don't own it. It's rented now. Games industry delenda est.
Core ethos of Shadowdark: time, darkness,
Yeah.
gear, action economy, information, distance,
Oh yeah. Oh,
danger.
I forgot that their action economy is stupid. You only get one action, so you have to stand there and attack like a dumb lump or remove.
How how is how is an action economy if you only have one thing you can do?
It's an action economy because you have to basically they assume that you're so stupid you only know how to do one thing. I was right. You are a unilevel Modron. You have to decide which of your orders you have to follow, and you can only do one at a time because your brain ain't good enough to do more than two. You're not a two-level Modron.
And I do like with the rewarding investment. Yeah, it's honor what has been earned. If a character learns a new language, make it matter. It just it hit me for a second that your character might be a complete polyglot, and they're a fucking fighter.
Yeah,
See, be unpredictable.
basically cheat. This is them telling you just cheat.
Need treasure to be in different values. Instead, fill you with stark dangers and stunning treasures. The most glorious victories are the hard-earned ones.
Even if you have to cheat like a motherfucker to make it work.
But you also want to telegraph danger and make sure choices matter. However, a choice is not which door do you open, the one on the left or the one on the right. That's not an actual choice, even though that is a binary decision.
That is actually a choice because because let's be honest, if you only have an hour before the torch runs out and you're like a level 1 party and poor shit and you only got like 2 torches.
Well, no, what they want is instead to be able to find the deep claw marks on one of the doors or catch the low snoring on the other side. So it still is a choice. It's just
True, especially
descriptors.
depending on if that dungeon has traps. Like one of the doors might be booby trapped or it might be a shortcut to a different section that you wouldn't get to otherwise. It's really interesting to see people try to do a dungeon delve and then kind of show they don't really understand how dungeon maps work.
I feel like they have to clarify that the GM should not be the enemy. You are not the player's enemy. You're portraying the world as it is, which is an enemy.
Yeah, you're supposed to be the neutral arbiter. The way I kind of interpret this, and this is kind of my take as a GM, if the player is new, it is okay to do what I call training wheel sessions, especially if they're not familiar with the game. But after a certain point, stop pulling your punches. Be fair, but when it's time to clown, do not pull your punches because your players are essentially kings, and you're shooting to kill. You're not gonna try to miss.
Hold on, wait. I'm looking at random encounters, light timers, resource management, XP. This is Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah. Basically, what happened is I think the person who came up with this, I forget their name already. I think what happened was they really liked Darkest Dungeon, and they were probably working on a third-party module for D&D 5th edition with it. Then the OTL license catastrophe happened, and then they just took all their homebrew and then
I think her
stapled it
name
on
was.
to basic.
Her name was Kate. Actually, no, I'll look it up, not to be disrespectful. The person who made this game is Kelsey Dion.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Thaco's easy. I wouldn't say it's hard. I just think it's not as intuitive as just, oh, I have to go over number with my dice and number pool.
I mean, the one thing I would have done with this, if you are trying to do Darkest Dungeon thing, there is a morale mechanic, but put that in like have a separate stat for your characters.
Actually, I just realized that's the point of the carousing feature, by the way. I'm surprised they didn't have a
Oh
stress
my,
mechanic.
oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, I kind of hate
You're
this, don't you?
well. I'm upset they don't have the stress mechanic.
That
That
would
was
actually,
fun.
and on top of that, guess what? Guess what? You could change the light mechanic to. What the light mechanic? Okay, here's what I would do if I was going to actually turn this into a Darkest Dungeon mod. First off, how much light you have determines the encounter rate, which they have 3 levels of. In this base game, they have unsafe and then like deadly, and then there's the middle one. Basically, the lower your light, the more likely you're going to run into bad stuff. What you can also then do is, if they have no light, you can throw a monster that is a tier higher than what they would usually run into. Because the light's gone, they are not terrified of the bright. And then what you have is stress mechanics. Basically, every now and again, when it's thematically appropriate, or just if the player's encountering something stressful, have them make like a wisdom save, or maybe not wisdom. Basically, have them make their best mental attribute save, and then if they fail, they get X amount of stress based on the result. And if they go over a certain amount, you can pick up a vice or you can pick up a virtue. Virtues being a lot rarer.
Or if you also have a virtue, then it also restricts some of the actions you can do.
Yeah.
Like a virtue might be like to be a protector of the party means you no longer cast offensive spells.
Scroll Killer
That
believes that a GM is a co-conspirator, a rival, a friend, and a hungry god screaming for their blood. I see it as being like a Caucasian shepherd, where they're a big pile of floof and doofiness until the moment combat comes out, in which case they try to destroy you on every level humanly possible. You don't need to cheat, but don't pull punches. Basically, try to kill them, but without stacking it completely against them, unless it makes logical sense for the enemy to know what they tend to do.
Then we have to set the tone. What's the environment? Jungle, desert, cityscape?
Oh yeah, this thing does not have a setting. In fact, actually, they're working on a Kickstarter right now to make a basic world setting. You know what I can say about
Oh,
Morkborg, at least? It had a minimum of a setting. Don't get me wrong, I tend to prefer throwing those out, but it's nice to have an example setting. Although, to be fair, Greyhawk was kind of formed organically, based on just Gary playing games.
and we have our session
Actually,
0, and
actually,
don't.
now that I think about it, why didn't they
And
just make it a post-apocalypse setting? Like, that's what early Greyhawk was.
because I didn't want to get sued.
I mean, you just make up your own dungeons and your own little kingdoms based on your playtesting.
We'll go with Foggy Eagle.
Well, you don't have to make it a 1-for-1, but basically, during your playtesting, if you have interesting characters that last high enough in the tiers list, have them found kingdoms, like startup kingdoms.
Or what about Dull Penguin?
No, that sounds like something that you'd go to in Antarctica, and it turns out they faked being stupid for 7 years. Because they're
Let's see.
the hyper-intelligent magic penguins that worship communism.
We've got the session 0, and we also have the safety mechanics.
Before then, let there be darkness.
Just kidding. There are no safety mechanics in this.
But before then, let there be darkness, where it basically tells you to destroy their light and basically fuck up their day in that way. Modes of play, which I really hate because it's all video gamified.
Well, of course. I mean, this is Shadow the Hedgehog.
Where's that?
Oh.
Where's the damn 4th Chaos Emerald?
Blitz mode, chaos mode, deadly mode, fatality mode, and for the homosexuals, grinder mode. But hunter mode, momentum mode, and pulp mode.
I kind of hate this.
Then random encounters. So, how to do a random encounter during crawling rounds? Unsafe, 3 rounds. Risky, 2 rounds. Deadly, check every round. Yay!
That's so stupid. By the way, if you're wondering what the rounds are, since I don't know if they explain it. Rounds when it comes to dungeon times, if you're using Gygax as a form of measurement, it's about 10 minutes. They don't clarify this, so that's on me to explain that. Oh, Hunter mode's the better XP? Yeah, defeated monsters grant XP equal to half their level around down.
Well, let's see.
I mean, it's more reliable. I personally think they should have had one where it's basically just based on how much money, or like I said, just the amount of money you throw into carousing gives you the results, and then you have the carousing table. And here's what I would do: I would have carousing events based on what class you are. Because let's be frank, I don't think a priest would have the same results as a particular rogue, especially if they're lawful versus chaotic.
Let's see. Then we have our traps.
By the way, this is one of the things that pisses me off. One of their rulings is legitimately don't overdo traps because it might cause problems. It would cause problems with the game pacing. Says the game whose entire thing is fucking with their lights, which impacts how often they can go into the dungeon. Classic D&D is notorious for its traps, right?
Well, don't worry. Unlike traps, there are hazards. But these are obvious from the start.
No, some of them
Such
shouldn't
as
be.
gravity flux, magical silence.
By the way, one of the things I love about the trap systems are basically it's just random bullshit go. They don't even they don't even give you like
Wait,
challenges to disable them.
a crossbow, which that is the trap. I thought it was like a
Hidden
crossbow that
crossbow, yeah.
if a word is spoken, it does damage. Which actually that could be cool.
So if you're wondering, the way that this system works is you roll the d12, you first pick what type of trap you get out of it, then the trigger mechanism, and then the effect. So for example, I could have it be that you run into a spiked pit that activates if you close a door and you take 1d6 and you're magically blinded because there's like, I don't know, a poison on it. They didn't think that through.
That could be funny.
I think my favorite one though is just because it's stupid, the rolling boulder that activates by breaking a light beam. That if it hits you, just makes you confused.
Well, I would like no, but it's a casting a spell. Just every time it just falls from the
The boulders just starts rolling
from the
towards
roof.
you.
Yeah, it's a cornate ball. It really hates mages.
So the hazard. So this also applies to hazards. So like you have caltrops that are floating in acid pools, I guess, or that's what the damage is. Oh no, and then you can
Ready
pick.
the acid caltrops.
Oh no, never mind. You just pick which one you want. Okay, that makes more sense. They
Let's
don't
see.
clarify half of this, so this is basically them saying, "Hey, fucker, guess what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to crack open the D&D book. Fuck you,
So then
fuck
let's
you,
see.
buddy. If you want to know how to assemble a trap or how to disable it, you gotta crack open D&D, pal. High quality.
But then let's see. We've got then the gauntlet, which is to basically kill level 0 characters.
Basically, the gauntlet is a bit of a nod, but not really, to certain types of killer dungeons that existed, like the Temple of Elemental Evil or Return to
Wasn't it the
Krasl Greyhawk.
Was it Tomb of Annihilation?
That's another one that's very infamous, yeah. No, Tomb of what was it called? Ah, shit, my memory is falling apart.
Mine is too, and I didn't even play it.
Tomb of Horrors or something? Oh, fuck, I remember.
Yeah, Tomb of Horrors. I think that's what it was.
That's the one where you basically get killed in 30 seconds if you don't figure out the mechanism to enter the place.
Yeah.
There's also one of my favorite moments is there's also a trap near the end of that dungeon where if you activate it, it sends you right back to the beginning trap, buck ass naked with nothing. So you have to go through the whole fucking dungeon again.
Oh, that's cruel. That is just cruel.
Oh, by the way, the best part about it is when you get to the end of the dungeon, you then have to double check because the thing that you fight at the end is a ruse, and the real one is hidden in a chamber even deeper. Because there's a part where you actually get the fake boss of the dungeon, and it tries as hard as it can to trick you into thinking you've won. Oh, there's also another really fun one where there's a statue that if you stick your hand in, you just stop existing. There's no save or die, you just die. Because there's a sphere of annihilation hidden in the mouth, in the shadows of it. Oh, and the mouth of the statue looks like that because it looks like there's an item that you might need, like it's like a trap room scenario where you're looking for something hidden.
Oh, that is just cruel.
There's also archways, if I remember, that would do things like change alignment. And
I'm evil now. Runs away.
Well, that's even funnier because then there's another one nearby that I think changes your gender. I think it's near the
I'm
one that
evil.
teleports you to the beginning buck naked too. Oh
I'm
no,
evil,
no,
and now
it's
I
buck
have
naked
tits.
and switched. Yeah, that Acerorax tomb is a fucking nightmare.
Let's see. Then we got our awarding XP. Treasure has 4 categories: poor, normal, fabulous, and legendary.
Which also gives you EXP. Oh. That's interesting. I hate the
I guess
carousing
that,
mechanic, but what?
yeah. Well, because it's like the carousing and then this. Basically, because you are searching for items. You're going to delve more into the dungeon to get this loot. But
I
then
think my
again, the loot's...
problem with this though is that by doing that as well, it still makes it so that your level progression's uneven.
The loot, though, also is variable. So you could end up getting a very powerful thing early on and just saying, fuck it, we're leaving.
Also, scroll killers were galling us at the time. Yeah, Gary Gygax has on more than one occasion been killed by his own modules. Mainly because, yeah, he wrote most of them, but the thing about most of his modules were it rewarded you for being cautious most of the time. The Tomb of Horrors, though, what it does is it starts you off in a panic. Because usually, if you're very patient and slow about most of the dungeon, it's fine. You just have to have a mixture of common sense and a bit of caution. That's what the traps where you have a time limit before you fucking die come in. You got 30 seconds before not only are you crushed, but also magically exploded into pulp.
But now, finally, after page 117, charts and tables.
By the way, these tables are stupid. These are just something
Something
happened
happened.
tables, and I don't get what the point of this is.
A dwarf in a red hat hands you a rose, bows, and leaves.
I
Someone is
don't get
staring at
it.
you and mouthing words.
Why is there an entire percentile table of, and then this happened?
Random bullshit go.
This is completely worthless to me for the most part. Like even
Rumors.
as a hook, this is kind of completely worthless. Yeah, the Hidden Shrine of Tamachin. Yeah, that was another example. Basically, one of the go-tos for certain traps, and it's also to punish players who. You ever have a player that takes like 20 minutes to figure out to do something? That's what
Yes.
those traps are designed to punish and force them to think faster. Adventure seeds? I don't think so. I think it's more of a, and then this fucking happened. Oh, these tables are stretch goals? No, I think it was just to stretch the book so that they could demand $60 for it. The rumors, at least,
And
I'm okay with. Rumor charts are always useful for when you're around town.
and then we have the adventure generator, such as Free, the demon,
Wait a minute.
hiding in the slums.
Did they just go through Donjon and just kind of like spam results?
I guess.
So if you're wondering, Donjon is a really beautiful online resource that can give you some very useful items like dungeon maps, but it also gives you stuff exactly like this. The only difference is this one actually has more options than Donjon does. Donjon has a habit of repeating the same few adventure hooks and stuff like that.
What, you don't like the idea of pacifying the werewolf of the Royal Knights?
I think my favorite would actually be to befriend the relic of sacrificing innocence. You
No,
have to
no.
befriend it.
No. Befriend the relic murdering townsfolk.
It's like a floating sword.
Let's see.
No. Find the goblet of stalking the wastes. So it's like there's an ominous goblet floating around.
I was trying to see here.
Rumor charts usually are completely worthless, but I do have a bit of a soft spot occasionally for these. The problem is 9 times out of 10, if you're re-establishing stuff like the Crystal Caves or the Jewel of Barbelt or the Red Owls, you kind of have to explain what those mean. By the way, the adventuring site names, you could just go to Donjon and it would just do the same fucking thing as this, and you'd actually have more options. So,
Then we get our NPCs.
NPC generator.
Yep. NPC qualities, such as having gold tooth, easily spooked, in deep gambling debt.
Now, my favorite is you can run into an elf child who is balding.
Balding and functional gills,
Yeah.
who's also a nun. Then you have rival crawlers you can kill, and with their party names such as the Hell's Knights or the Iron Dawn.
I was going to say, let's see, what's the stupidest one I can think of? The Emerald Oath, who is known for surviving the fall of Corinth.
What's Corinth?
I don't know. Who gives a shit? Who fucking thinks about it? And their signature tactics are always to negotiate. Or alternatively, if they're chaotic, sacrifice NPCs.
But then we get not only NPC names by ancestry, but NPC names by syllable.
What the fuck? Okay, what's the point of having another name chart?
More names, more NPCs, more tables, endless tables.
So here's the thing. I like tables, but most of these are completely fucking worthless.
But then we have finally the Shadowdark maps, room types, traps, monster mobs. If you were fighting in an overland hex, what the settlement name would be.
So this is a
Like
dungeon generator.
wait, I like the city name, like Kingsgate. You know, a king. Can you think of a name of a king? So I think it starts with a B. Benjamin's Gate.
I like how that. I like how they couldn't even bother to come up with more than 8 names for each option.
What?
Also, points of interest. Oh my god.
Well, also Darkwater, Bright Lantern, Iron Bridge.
I mean, if you take 2 nouns and slam them together, you sometimes come up with. I'm surprised they didn't come up with something like Wombat Lungs or something. Like, oh yes, the
That would be
great
an
town of
interesting name.
Wombat Lung. Jesus
And then we got
Christ.
our
These
taverns.
tables suck.
We have our taverns, like the Crimson Rat.
By the way, if you're wondering why these taverns and districts and things are brought up, again, Donjon has generators for most of these.
I think that might be from Daggerfall. These seem like names from Daggerfall.
Several of them are.
That's like the Jolly Camel.
Oh my
and
fucking god! This is just they went to Donjon and just got random options because guess what the food options are? A lot of these were used if you ever okay. So Donjon has a tavern generator, which also gives you a menu item. You motherfuckers!
I was like how dragon shanks, which I'm presuming is food from a dragon, can be anywhere from 1 gold piece to 8 gold pieces. I'm sorry, that'd be like fucking 20 or 50.
20 or 50? That's only if a dragon's been recently killed.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Why the hell are silkworms so... Baked troll bones. Why would you eat troll anything?
Also, for the shop generators, I am upset there is not a feeds and seeds.
Also, shop generator, if I recall, this is another Donjon generator they just kind of borrowed from.
This was made in 2023. You could have done a feed and sneeds.
I mean, admittedly, there's more options for the shops, but this is fucking terrible. Yeah, they should have had they should have had something like yeah, because the names you could have had like Sneed's feed.
Also, look at the artwork of the upside-down Hamza Cthulhu.
I think these are supposed to be mind flayers, allegedly.
Also, I do like on one of the images, the cultists falling off. That's funny.
Did they literally just look over Donjon's code? Now, in kindness, no, these are not purely from Donjon, but what I think happened was they looked at all of the generators that Donjon had, and then all they did was just they generated a few, got an idea for what options were available, and then just made up their own. And then when they ran out of ideas, that determined the dice percentile that they were supposed to use. This is fucking horrendous.
Also, now we have tables for the type of encounters you would get in an Arctic environment.
Yeah, they're just ripping off the Dungeon Master's Guide at this point.
And in an artisan district.
Come on, don't you want to roll the thin ice is weakened by hot spring shifts and cracks? That read like a stroke victim. Hermit Legion, Reaver chooses the PC as his next prey. Who's Legion? Who fucking knows?
And the castle district.
The artisan district. I like how you're just kind of going around, and then a player character's family member's about to get killed. But I'm an orphan. I don't know anyone. You're just going through the artisan's district trying to get like stylization on your shield, and then an angry Ifriti just rises out of a lamp, screaming at you. This is dog shit. Holy crap.
Yeah, they are copying the back pages of 1E.
This is awful. By the way, reminder that guess what? For the next 40 fucking pages, it's nothing but terrible tables like this.
I find it odd when they say that on the cave encounters that there's an option for cannibalistic beastmen hunt for their next meal. But you're not beastmen.
Yeah, you're not.
If they're cannibals, they're only eating beastmen, not other people.
No, okay, hear me out. You're going through the cave, you hear animalistic scream, and a bunch of toadmen appear. Like, I don't know, 8 toadmen appear. And they start gibbling and gabbling at you in Primordial. Like, at first you think you have to fight them, and it's like, oh, no, I assure you, they're friendly. What do you mean? They will help us if you help them find more prey. What do they eat? Themselves. I bet. You become best friends with the frog people because they eat each other.
Mm-hmm.
You just start stacking their, the ones that you kill and towards them. Yeah, these are fucking terrible.
Binkin and Bobbin, twin halflings, tumble into the room.
By the way, 1d4 brain eaters. I wonder why we call them that and not mind flayer. Oh no, please don't sue us. Ah! But we're still going to use the term dwerger.
Deep tunnels, mushroom folk building a colony of fungi homes.
If I had bought this, I'd be pissed. If I recall correctly, I think the PDF was like $9 or something.
Oh fuck no, desert. On number 1, a purple worm bursts from the sand and towers overhead. Fuck, it's Chult.
I did warn you that this has a lot in common with Chult.
It's Chult. No, no, again, no.
Please tell me there's a black pyramid too. But if you're wondering, purple worms are a very common and very old D&D monster. That's why both
Oh,
Chalt and this had this. They're pretty strong too. Like they're not the nastiest things in the world to fight, but let's say I'm like level 7. Like let's say you feel pretty Billy badass. You've stopped playing D&D basic. You're into advanced and you're a fucking nerd and you somehow managed to just barely start getting 4th level spells. You're feeling Billy badass, right? Everybody feel gangsta until the purple worm arises out of the ground like Shai Halud. This is
yeah.
amazingly pathetic.
Let's see.
Hey,
Forest.
by the way, reminder that this book does not have actually any form of setting. You have to pay a Kickstarter to get that. Oh, hey, Otyugs, which I also think could not be used. Also, fun fact, Final Fantasy also tried to use Otyugs, if I remember right. They had to call them Ochus.
That's
This is
the
awful.
blood of Ramlat tribe orcs chop angrily at trees.
Which is a
I don't
nod
see
to
any
Grummish
tree
hate.
people to fight.
Well, no. It's
Yeah,
because
no, it's dryads.
forests were provided by I forget the name of the elf god that is now gender fluid. Like canonically, the elf god can become the goddess at the same time. So anyway, Grummish is in a war. Gets into a bet with the Twink god, and the Twink god fucking scams him out of forests. So that's why orcs really love burning wood.
Also, the wandering merchant pops out of a rotten tree stump. No, wait, the wandering. Oh no.
You just hear the music in the background.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, you could completely cut this out. By the way, there's still more. There's 30 more pages of this. I just really want to
Grasslands.
highlight how fucking terrible this book is.
More grassland encounters.
Don't get me wrong, the first half of the book, if you get just the basic splat, it works fine, but this is the whole book, and this is what you paid $60 for. Have fun, fuckos. Oh, by the way, the Dungeons and Dragons basic version, when it first released in 77 and in 81, you got basically more than this for $10 less.
But can you potentially meet Dr. Bartum Halsey leading an expedition of 2d12 peasants
I have no
in
idea
the
who that
jungle?
even is. The High District. The Overlord levies a 500 gold piece filth tax on the player characters. Some guy named Lord Larvin chokes on his wine. It's been poisoned.
Not Lord Larvin.
So, here's the thing. I like tables, but they have to actually mean something. And traditionally, I mostly like them when it's a generator. Like, a great example of this, I think, was when we covered the Borderlands in Warhammer Fantasy. Where, you know how
Oh,
you basically make your holdings, like the area that you're going to play in the Borderlands?
yeah.
That's
And I think
cool.
it's some. It wasn't like random in the sense of like if you get higher, it's better.
No, it just depended on what you got. Sometimes high was bad. Yeah, this is completely inefficient with the page layout and spacing, and also on top of this, most of these encounters suck. Oh hey, look, a giant zombie times 3 level and damage crawls out of the earth randomly in the jungle.
By the way, I noticed all these monsters here. What are their stats?
Fuck you. You're gonna have to go all the way near the bottom of the book to know that.
Well, I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom then. Fuck
Have
it.
fun. Yeah, just
Yep.
I'm gonna scroll through since it's almost 11 and I don't feel like wasting 4 hours of my life on this piece of shit. These are all the tables that you get. These are all random encounter tables that you get, and these are just kind of random garbage.
Oh no, there are more. They are more monster tables. What the fuck? But I do want to state beforehand that with the monster
Look at that.
tables that they get the they have AC. HP is determined by rolling a number of D8s per monster level and adding its or con modifier.
Also,
Um,
yes, monsters have the same hit die. So one of the cool things about Dungeons and Dragons, especially the DM's guide and the monster manual, is what it did was that it allowed you to construct your own monster. And the way it worked was you had to pick what type of monster it was. For example, something like an ooze or an undead, well, actually, an undead, usually has a fuckload of HP, 1d12, and that's because its armor and basically ability to do a lot of things sucks, so it needs that HP to kind of keep going. Outsiders, by comparison, have less HP because they have nastier abilities and they're far more powerful.
Also,
At
wait,
least
Ralthus,
1v1.
what image was stolen?
Oh, which one? This
As we
beholder?
wait for, look, they already did that before. But one thing I want to point out: all non-humanoid monsters are dark adapted.
Oh yeah, they can all see in the dark. They see you exactly where you are at every time. Look at all these fucking. Look at all this.
I can smell you.
They could smell you
I,
before you even appeared.
and
So
then here's
wait,
your
the
monster
beholder art
generator.
was actually stolen? What the fuck? I mean, it was also it's used as the cover for the book, just to let you know.
Also, monster statistics. I have to start here. Aboleth. Aboleth.
Where are you looking at? Just the list
Page
of monsters?
194. Yeah.
Oh, you're skipping the monster table, but it allows you to make your monsters. It's really stupid. It's really stupid, and it's not helpful at all. It's a
I like
lot
how you could.
more simple
Yeah.
just to learn how the templates work in D&D.
Yeah. But is this trying to be Abeloth from Star Wars?
No, aboleth are an actual monster in D&D. By the way, this is actually what an aboleth looks like. I don't think they should actually even be able to be in this book.
Hmm.
Because I think
We
this
have,
is a proprietary monster.
then we have Archangels, which we only get the Seraphim, so only one of the 9
Ah,
ranks.
okay, that's why. And first and second edition monsters did have 1d8. I was wondering about that because in 3.5 in third edition, which I'm more familiar with, don't get me wrong, I'm somewhat familiar with basic just because it's a pick up and play kind of book. But I didn't remember if monsters had different hit dice. I thought they might have because that it just makes sense, like a construct is usually a bit beefier than, like something else because it's made out of metal or wood or reconstructed flesh or spaghetti. I'm not even kidding. There's an actual golem called a calzone golem. If you
That's
attack it, it
funny.
has. Well, no. Here's one of the best things about it. If you hurt the calzone golem, not only can it randomly rampage because when golems are damaged, the spirits chained inside them lose their mind, but like the fucking xenomorph, it has cheese for blood. It has hyper molten cheese for blood that
Don't
will
get it on you.
set
Will
you on
Don't
fire.
get it on you. It will give you diabetes.
Well, on top of that, if you kill it, it basically gives you hundreds of pounds of extremely delicious calzone.
Hmm.
There's also a brain golem, and I believe in was it Book of Erotic Fantasy? I think there's a semen golem. I
Ew.
know there's a scarecrow. There's a straw golem that's basically an animated scarecrow.
I could see though a great or a horrifying quest where you have to go find this wizard who's alone. It turns out he's been kidnapping dolls and putting them into jars with these semen golem protectors.
By the way, the angels are all based on celestials. Let's see. Do they have the
Yep.
lantern celestial? Let me think. Lantern
Nope.
archon? Nope, they don't.
Let's see.
Okay.
You can fight Ankegs,
Ankegs are
apes,
also a proprietary monster, if I remember right.
badgers, basilisks.
Azir, I believe, are a type of dwarf that are metal touched.
The black pudding and the brain
My
eater.
assumption is what happened is Shadowdark probably is using Orc for this to avoid the
Yeah.
consequences.
Brain eater, purple gaunt humanoids with squid-like heads and 4 face tentacles. They live in complex alien societies underground and eat humanoid brains.
I wonder what those are based on. It's almost like they flay mines to eat.
No, I think they saute them. Mind
Also,
sauteurs.
bullets, which are a classic D&D monster.
Centaurs, chimeras, fool, or chul.
Cloakers, which are also a classic D&D monster. If you're wondering what they look like, they're supposed to imitate cloaks and basically strangle you.
Cockatrice, giant crabs.
Deep ones, which, hey, fun fact, in earlier versions of D&D, particularly during TSR's run, they actually statted monsters like Yogg-Sothoth and the deep ones, as well as
Can
Cthulhu
you
spawn.
can you kill Yogg-Sothoth?
He has a stat line. I think you can hypothetically kill him, although it's very difficult. This is also why Call of Cthulhu actually has a D20 version.
Oh, and here we go. Demons. Demons are chaos incarnate, born from the violent royal and madness of the dark realms. They watch from the liminal space between worlds, hoping to find a way into the light realms to wreak destruction. And here are the most recognized forms. The Balor demon, colossal horned bat beast wreathed in the flames of hell itself, with mighty swords and cracking whips of fire can slice through stone.
Uh,
Oh, hide their bloodletters.
well, not only that, but this is essentially the fucking Balrog, which D&D has the equivalent of.
Then we have the Dretch, green pig-faced demons with thick claws and oily stench, high plague bearers.
I forget what those ones are.
And the Glabrizu, horse-headed fanged creatures who walk upright and have 4 arms, 2 shriveled and 2 ending in hulking pincers.
They ripped their names from the OGL, so basically they're trying really desperately to avoid getting sued.
I need to remember what Slaanesh demon that is.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Balor and
fiends.
Pit Fiend.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking of.
no. Oh, hide there, fiends, for the Glabazaru. But then we have the Merileth, hissing armored women with 6 limbs and the bodies of giant snakes. Varrock, wagon-sized filthy vultures with 4 limbs, midnight blue skin, and a rash of mangy feathers. Hi there, God, why am I
These are Chaos Demons, yeah.
yeah.
Dude, the fuck? Now, admittedly, they're also seen in Dungeons and Dragons. Like, there are equivalents to this, but this is disgustingly pathetic. Oh, hey, the Araignées, which I know most of all because one of my favorite evil character concepts is ones that eventually become disciples of Disfader. Araignées tend to be his servants. Yeah, a lot of these are just D&D demons. This is really pathetic. Also, if you're wondering, yes,
Yeah.
dinosaurs have been statted in D&D. This is pathetic. This is
the Varrock,
pathetic.
so Varrock's our Lord of Change, but then we have the Devils.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically. I'm just skipping ahead because holy shit, there's some
I mean,
hard
that's
monsters.
that's Rift's base, the demons and devils thing.
No, they're a lot of these are
Oh.
based on D&D devils.
Then
and
our
demons.
various.
By the way, if you're wondering why there's devils and then demons, do you want to know why that's the case?
Because
one of the big
Terrence
things.
got pissed off.
Well, no. Because one of the big things, lore-wise, mechanically, in Dungeons and Dragons are devils are the emphasis on evil that's based on law, the ones that can make compacts, the lawful evil. Demons are pure chaos evil. And one of the big things is known as the Blood Wars, which essentially is between the Abyss, which is chaotic evil, super hell, and the Hells, which is the lawful evil version of hell. And it is such a violent fucking war that this is where the idea that cosmologically law and chaos is more interesting, because the biggest conflict is between chaotic evil and lawful evil. Because you can actually abide contracts with a lawful evil person. They may try to break it based on legal technicalities, but they still follow it. You can't trust a demon when they make a pact. So that's why this is there. This is just pathetic.
Then we got our drows, druids, draugrs, Efreet.
Different dragon types, by the way, are
Elementals.
based on the color of dragons. So, whomp whomp.
Gelatinous cubes, ghasts, ghouls.
These are all OGL things.
Cloud giants,
Hey,
fire
Ettercaps, that's
giants.
another monster that's commonly used.
Gibbering mouther, a crawling mass of slime with dozens of screeching lipless mouths and wet eyeballs. Oh, hi there, Shoggoth.
Well, I mean, yeah, Gibbering Mouthers are very good Shoggoth replacements. They have been a thing in D&D for a long time.
Then we got our gobos, golems, clay, iron, flesh, and stone, gorgons, gorillas, grey ooze, a grick.
That's the worm thing with the parrot beak.
Yep. Hags. Hippo. Oh, you can fight hippos.
Yep.
All right, that's a plus in my book.
These are all OGL items. Basically, please don't destroy us. Oh, by the way, we're gonna eventually get to my favorite. Don't worry, it's coming.
Leprechauns, mammoths, giant manta rays,
Yeah,
mimics. I
a
mean,
lot of
this
these
is
are classic.
This is Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Of course they'd have mimics. Moose.
Yeah, they were basically just
More,
plundering first and second editions monster manuals, particularly the Fiend
wait,
Folio. This is
more,
fucking trash.
Mordantisks the Flayed.
Oh, fuck. I forget what lich they're ripping this off. This is
Isn't
basically a powerful lich. I don't know which one this is supposed to be. This is basically something from another one of the like major characters in D&D. I don't use these usually.
Oba Ix of Arazum.
Let's see. Did they explain where it is? His origins in the Ten-Eyed Oracle, Crown of Gehenna, Necrosis, Phylactery. It
This is
may.
just a
I don't think it's a Sarah. Asarak would destroy him. Yeah, it's
giant
just some lich.
octopus. Onis. Orcs. Otyug. Oh, outsiders. Alien horrors from the frozen outer reaches of the cosmos or the chaos-infused dark realms.
Outsiders also is the term for those that are not from the material plane.
Peasants, owlbears, priests.
By the way,
Purple worm.
okay, before we go, the owlbear looks like that because basically this is the first edition version of the owlbear. That's why they make it look like that, because that way I don't get sued to shit back. Please don't destroy me, Wizards of the Coast. Don't kill me. Ah!
Let's see. Rats, giant rats, dire rats, swarm rat, Rathgamnon.
These are just like some random characters they invented for their setting, but they never bothered to do anything with it.
A rhinoceros, roper, rock,
A lot of
rock
the
flower,
they're just digging through the fucking monster manual.
scarecrow, scorpion, giant scorpion, shadow, shark, megalodon shark,
Well, you got to clarify because they're big.
cobra snake, swarm snake, giant snake, spider, giant spider, and swarm spider. The ten-eyed oracle.
Yeah, these ones are the ones you know they kind of gave a shit about, because these are the only ones they invented. These are the only things they've invented. These are
Oh,
just ideas that they just kind of throw in between the monsters that they
the
stole.
terrace, the Terraskew. It's the fucking Terraskew.
The Tarask, yeah.
Terrat.
Yeah, the
Regains
Tarask
40,
is
10,
fun. It's
regains
basically Godzilla.
only damage by magical sources. Hostile spells target the Tarask are DC 18 to cast. Cannot be permanently killed unless a wish spell is cast on it while at 0 HP. Regains 40-10 lost HP at the beginning of its turn.
Yep. This is just a reconverted Tarask, but this is how the Tarask was in early editions. It was basically fucking impossible to destroy.
And then the Wandering Merchant, a cheerful merchant who happens to be hale, middle-aged human, a handlebar mustache, a large nose, and a small hat. Kidding, he wears a white shirt, breeches, a leather apron, holds a towering backpack bursting at the seams.
Yeah, these are crap.
See,
The only one they
Treants,
cared about is the Tarask, and they didn't even come up with these. So that's why I think the things like the Ten-Eyed Oracles are just
oh,
stuff they
here we
took.
go. Viperians.
Yeah, these
A
are
fallen,
Yuan-Ti. These
yeah,
are
a fallen,
Yuan-Ti.
scattered civilization of snake people.
Hmm.
Were-rat.
I,
Werewolf.
but before we go into this, yeah, my boy Yig demands his boys back. Yig fucking hates these guys.
And then treasure. All of the treasure.
The expression on this dead guy's face is how I feel just looking at this pathetic monster manual. Don't get me wrong, the monster manual at least is functional. It's just there, like you can literally just go to the SRD. You can just go to D&D's SRD and just take monsters from it. This is embarrassing. So, hey, do you like tables? Well, fuck you if you don't. Here's more.
More treasure! All the more treasure! All the treasure you can get, including a bag of holding!
My favorite being a bent tin fork.
Ceremonial gold cap warhammer.
I found a bag of smooth pebbles. Somehow they're worth money. I don't know how.
A Kytherian cog.
No idea what that
Eh?
means. So, if you're wondering, well, I mean, I think people know. This is just basically a similar but more crap version of the Wondrous item table. Which, hey, guess what? You know what's a really nice table that I like to consult a lot? Wondrous items tables. Do you want to know why? It allows you to actually populate treasure hoards with random neat stuff. And then you just throw in some customized stuff to go in with it.
But then we get the blessings you can get.
By the way, did you know goblins are actually known for their clockwork toys? So goblins, I guess, are just their version of gnomes. So, canonically in Shadowdark, just know that goblins are responsible for giant space hamsters, just to let you know.
And let's see. Then we get magic. We get not only our blessings that we can get, our magical items. More tables. What are their names? What are their effects? What type of armor is it?
Note that I'm still stuck on mundane items. I just want to really establish just how much of a fucking waste this book is.
More tables than a Rift's character creation.
Remember how I said that over half of the book was tables? This is what I meant.
Potions. What are the features? What are they mixing? What's their benefit? What's their curse? What's on the scroll
Magic
feature? What's the
idea
wand feature?
generator.
What kind of spell are they? Can you get on the scroll?
By the way, one of the
You,
funniest things about potions that they could have brought back for if you want to play old school role playing game, something that I've actually done is I've actually refined the alchemy system in my Mars Mega Dungeon game. Basically, if you find certain items, if you harvest monsters or plants or other items, you get certain things like their blood or their organs that you can use for alchemical ingredients, and sometimes they have what's called a miscibility, where they complement each other well and get a better or newer result. Sometimes they don't go well, and you make something the equivalent of an unstable alchemist fire, or it actually has the opposite effect of what you intend. Miscibility is a really fun, like the miscibility table is actually really fun, especially if you have a character that specializes in alchemy. 1.3 million Kickstarter. We just modernized yet. By the way, do you want to know a game that actually modernized the classic basic version? Okay, so there's this game called Old School Essentials. That's basically basic but slightly modernized. And even then, if you really don't like Old School Essentials for whatever reason, just get the Moldave version. You can get it for like $5 at Drive Through RPG. But it only allows you to go up to level 3. Well, I mean, if you have a brain, you know what you can do. You can go into the NPC creator because it at least gives you the magic that they get up to level 6. Because sometimes Gary expected you to occasionally fight like a level 6 wizard as level 2 guys.
let's see. Then you can get item personality if you have a magical item. Its
Which can
flaw,
be
its
occasionally useful, but
designing magical items, giving us other magical items.
Oh
So
boy,
many
wondrous
bags,
items.
so many bags, so many boots. Ah, this feels like an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, if you have a brain, if you actually have a brain, even if it's like in a jar, you probably could just get the expert set. Dungeon Crawl Classics would also work. Basically, Shadowdark, if you get the free like quick start edition, it's fine. But this is my ultimate problem with OSR. Why do that when you can just get the fucking red book? It teaches you everything you need to know. And if your players like it, you just get the advanced set. You get the expert set. It's not a big fucking deal. It's not a big fucking
But I don't
deal.
want to give those woke people money.
You can get it for $5. And if you're really smart, you can find it in a dumpster. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to get. It is not that hard. There are 5 iterations, at least, of Dungeons and Dragons Basic. There's the original Gygax 77 version. There's the 81, which is the one I tend to prefer. There's the 83, which gives you even more material to work with, but it's formatted worse. I think there's a 91 version you can get. I think the last one they made was like 1994. You have options. You don't need any of this crap. Let's be blunt here. Shadowdark is the TTRPG that some dude that smells of spoiled milk hands you and gets the Xerox stuff on your hands. No, that's just one of the encounters you get in Shadowdark. But here's just some random items you got, like the Bag of Devouring, which is like a Bag of Holding, but cursed. There's the Blades of Vengeance. These are just like stuff that already existed in the game, like in the classic Wondrous items.
The
But
Warhammer of the Dwarf Lords. Oh, I don't know. I'm wondering what the name of the Warhammer of the Dwarf Lords could be. I wonder if it starts with a gal. Gal Maraz, maybe.
Dagger of the Goblin Hero. Oh, I just realized that they made a Batman shitpost on page 302. That's terrible. That's terrible. You should feel bad. You
Oh,
really should
come
feel bad.
on. Oh.
It's Gonzo because remember when Batman was good and wasn't just Joker giving birth and Harley Quinn farting into Ivy's mouth? Batman used to be good.
Yeah, like when he had the Technicolor rainbow coat. The rainbow.
You're joking, but the rainbow costume was actually used.
Yes, because it's also silly. He does the Batusi. It's silly.
But remember, Batman used to be cool. Remember? Need to consume.
Martha.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? Yeah, what can I say? A lot of this stuff is from the Wondrous item table that you could just get from the SRD. Or alternatively, and hear me fucking out, okay? Hear me out. What you do is you get the monster manual and the Wondrous item compendium from the first edition of TSR's Dungeons and Dragons, the advanced version. You could just do that. You could just do that. That's my ultimate problem with OSR. If it's a mindset, then you don't really need it. If it's a D&D killer, then why do you constantly have to reference D&D? Why are you basing it so hard on D&D? If it's supposed to be classic, why are you using 5th edition structure? Why did you get rid of skills? Why did you minimize that?
I would compare it to something like people saying like Trench Crusade is the Warhammer killer. It's a grimdark skirmish game similar to Mordheim or Necromunda, but no, it's entirely different based on the way things are created, its background, and its mechanics.
Oh, I thought it was just terrible looking miniatures that were based on a vibe and also just a lot of pornography of the women. Like a horrendous amount of pornography that they try to pretend is empowering.
Well, that's any RPG. But no, the system it's 2d6 and you get and then you can get more dice or less dice, and then you get the highest number or the lowest number depending on how it balances out.
It doesn't interest me at all.
I've played it. It's fun.
There's nothing interesting in it for me.
But it ends with talking about join the community, the Discord, that gaming conventions for Shadowdark are coming out, the newsletter link, on the YouTube channel, and the licensing and all that. Which
did they attribute the licensing for this? Let me see.
licensing is its own. Shadowdark third-party license.
System reference document 5.1. Yeah, of course it's mostly based on 5e. Of fucking course. By the way, this
And then
licensing, this was probably the thing they put the most thought onto because the entire point of games like this is it's supposed to serve as the infrastructure to a third party. This is why the indie. Basically, if you ever wonder why, oh my god, Morkborg is so amazing, or oh, you should totally try Shadow. That is a bunch of third party developers and indie fucks desperate as shit to get their foot in the door and basically artificially drive functions to this. Now, what Shadowdark has an advantage to, say, Morkborg is, it's a far easier to read book, and the essential rules are fine. What it doesn't have in favor of Morkborg is a fucking adventure module. Morkborg at
like that,
least gave me a goddamn dungeon to run,
like it's playable.
and it has a
And it's what
setting.
we would put this at playable.
I would rate this as a very low playable. Yeah, they just downloaded the OGL license template from Wizards of the Coast. This is really fucking pathetic. Yeah, I rate this as a low playable. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are things to potentially use this for, but do you know what my ultimate problem is and why I have to put it at low playable? I have a book. It's called The Red Book. It does what this thing does, but cheaper. Cheaper. It explains things more, and you could just get it right out the box. There's also the matter that there's already other systems that do this, like Osric or OSE. Let's be fucking honest. The market's saturated, and this doesn't really do anything interesting.
It's very much, I think, the aesthetic. Oh, it's grim and dark.
It's not even
Well,
that.
no, it's grim and dark in contrast to the much more bright and colorful D&D, which is what they're doing now.
I
Trying to
mean,
get
I
back to that old
guess.
school feel, but I feel like a lot of these people that are playing it, one, weren't
Well,
alive
they're
for
not
that
really playing
time.
it. The player base for this isn't that big. What's really the thing is a lot of devs are pushing for it. Indie devs are pushing for it because they're like, oh my god, if this takes off, I can get these fucking rubes to buy my shit, my third party shit. It's the same reason Morkborg is so open about allowing you to make other things under their license. It's
Which I do
one
like.
big money. It's one big money thing.
Well, I do like that. That is a way to encourage a community. Is
Oh, don't get me wrong.
well,
It's
you make
basic
money off
business
it.
101. But what it ultimately leads to is what I call flavor of the month. This is why crap like Powered by the Apocalypse became popular. This is why garbage like, well, garbage like Apocalypse World, style over substance garbage like Morkborg, because I'm sorry, but if your justification is to say, oh no, it's great if you're with friends or drunk, you could watch a horrible stand up comedian bomb for 30 minutes before walking off the stage crying, and it would be fun if you were drunk and with friends. You could play Bad Rats, and it would be fun with friends.
Well, no, but drunk with friends, I would do Paranoia.
Yeah.
But the GM is the sober one.
But yeah, all in all, this is a low playable. I don't think it's really worth. It is not really worth like getting the book, like the hard copy. But hell no. Like you saw how much of it was just table crap, right?
If you do want to use the table's inspiration, maybe.
If you just get the getting started version because you can get a physical copy, I'd recommend that. But at the end of the day, I would just recommend getting a copy of Dungeons and Dragons Basic or Old School Essentials. This just eh. This is the problem with OSR. It's just okay. Why don't you just play D&D like that? It's not a D&D killer. It's just okay, just play D&D like that.
Well, since we have finally ventured out of the Shadow Man, we could next week either do a game that actually came out with a new edition recently that we reviewed last year, um, Cthulhu Tech. They did come out with a second edition.
We could, but also only
Yep.
2% of the book is rape.
No, in this case, 0% of the book is going to be rape. Like,
We could, and that might be on the chopping block, but I want to do something else instead since this was supposed to be like dark and horrifying and eldritch. Can we just do Delta Green instead? We've talked about that a lot, and there's a lot of modules that I don't mind spoiling too much. There's some that I don't want to, but we could talk about that. We could. No, wait. Tech actually suggested a good book to open with, the
Yep.
90s conspiracies one. We could do that.
And I think it is fitting because, and I don't want to end this on a downer, but apparently a guy who was very big in the RPG community, especially for like Delta Green, Call of Cthulhu, and RuneQuest, Bud of Bud's RPG recently passed away. So we could do this in honor of him as well.
We could. So yeah, I think next week we'll actually cover Delta Green finally. And like I said, I think Shadowdark really needed to have a setting before it released. I think it having a Kickstarter to do that is just egregious. That's kind of the problem with OSR. You kind of need a setting for it to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, next week, Delta Green 90s Conspiracy.
Yep. Next week we'll be doing a night at the opera.
That'll
Enjoy.
be interesting. Have a good night, everyone.